Fantasy 15? Like, I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's the real one. The one on Steam. It was like a timed exclusive for consoles, but not for any specific console. It just took them longer to get the PC version out for some reason. Don't ask me why. Square's weird.
Very confusing.
Yeah, that's Final Fantasy 15. I can at least say it's a better game than Final Fantasy 13. I can't say by how much. At least the open world exploration part's kind of fun. The ending sucks.
Did you play it through to the end?
I was sitting on a couch with a friend as he was playing it through to the end. Because he really likes those Final Fantasy games, but he only plays them when I'm around. Mostly because he gets lost and I'm better at remembering what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
He actually,
he
he used to have me basically just play the games for him. Like, he would get to a boss where he lost and be like, here, you hand it. And then he would never take the controller back until one day I'm like, no, I'm not beating this game for you, you do it. And then he actually finally started beating games on his own.
Yeah. Well, it's what the AVGN calls a where the hell do you go kind of game.
Yeah. That's every Final Fantasy except for 13 after 7. And the only reason 13's not that way is because it's literally just straightforward hallways. You can't get lost.
Yeah.
Never had that problem with 6, and that was an open world game. Well, as open world as games could be back then.
Yeah. Well, I found I guess I was getting lost in Final Fantasy 2.
Yep.
Didn't know where to go next. It was like I had to go to a walkthrough because I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. I have no idea.
2 is frustrating, to say the least. Yeah. But at least the version you're playing is less frustrating because they added in a couple NPCs that will at least give you clues as to where you're supposed to go that didn't exist in the original version of the game.
Of 3?
No, in 2.
Oh.
Right? Even having to look up a walkthrough, there are in the, like, in later versions, like Dawn of Souls and Origins and stuff, you have to talk to everyone in town to get them, and it's still kind of vague, but they added in some NPCs that will occasionally have clues. Like, this town will have an NPC with a clue, this town will have an NPC with a clue. But the problem is you could go to the towns out of order, so the clues don't make sense, and you probably don't even notice that they are clues. But at least they're there. The Famicom version of the game did not have those NPCs that they added in that had clues.
Interesting.
But you're like, it's an RPG. Shouldn't there be somebody telling me what to do?
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah.
Apparently not. We've learned that in RPGs you don't always have someone to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
We've learned that on Saturdays.
Hey, you know what? I have plenty of people you could have been asking for clues of what to do. Nobody wants to ask anyone but random kids walking down the street. It's like, yes, this random person walking down the street who has no idea that you're even on a world-saving quest will totally know what to do, but you don't want to ask maybe, like, the 5 people that are sending you out on quests. Anyway, we'll get to that later, near the end block of the show. Welcome to the Vomitorium. We're live. As always, I'm your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer. How are you doing today?
Just great. I've gotten a ridiculous amount of sleep since yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
And I don't know why. I guess it's good, but I didn't expect. I slept for 8 hours last night and then fell asleep again late this morning, and I'm like, damn it, I wanted to do some live streaming earlier, but I don't know why. I guess I'm catching up.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really catch up on sleep, but I like to pretend you can. It makes me feel better about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get very much sleep.
How else do you explain getting 12 hours of sleep on a Sunday?
It doesn't roll over. That's the only problem.
Why was I so tired?
I don't know, diet, bad bodily
Yes.
maintenance. I know
Oh,
why I'm
sorry.
tired. It's probably the amount of sugar I put into my system.
Yeah. So you didn't get a lot of sleep?
No, I was woken up like 3 times. Not even by like outside influences. Just woken up 3 times in the middle of my sleeping cycle.
Sorry.
It happens.
I fell asleep with the Hasbro GI Joe YouTube channel on.
And the one that just
Next to
streams
my
it
bed.
nonstop.
Yeah, but remarkably, I always end up watching the same couple episodes. Like, I've seen this one. Like, were there really that few episodes of GI Joe?
Yeah, there weren't a lot. So if they're just cycling through, you just have the bad random luck of always coming in at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always the same episode, but it's the same. I don't know. I think I've seen the same 4 or 5. Like,
Yeah.
it seems like several times.
How many seasons were there? There's only like a couple, right?
I guess. I thought there was more. You know, it's interesting, like, rewatching some of those old G.I. Joe episodes. They must have told the creators or the writers, just do whatever. Like, we don't care. You know,
4.
just be great. What's that?
There were 4 seasons.
Oh, wow.
But
Surprise.
at 30 minutes an episode, that's not a lot of time if you're just playing them on repeat nonstop.
Yeah. But, like, there's episodes where people have psychic or telekinesis or all these crazy abilities. There's episodes where they go to alternate dimensions.
Yeah.
There's, like, all kinds of crazy creatures and things that they fight. I'm like, what? This is G.I. Joe? This is crazy. And I probably saw it as a kid and didn't think anything of it, but now I'm watching it, I'm like, this is the most bizarre show ever. I guess I just had to come up with something.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as I'm aware, G.I. Joe is basically just like a militarized version of the X-Men, just in a world where the X-Men don't exist.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, there's one where they go to an alternate dimension.
Yeah.
And, of course, Cobra rules everything, and Cobra Commander's the president. It's crazy.
Yep.
Can you turn down the
Yeah,
music
I
a
can.
little? That one.
I need to fix my auto volume regulation stuff. But it's a little better than YouTube.
But I'm pretty sure I've seen the episode where Dusty joins Cobra like 3 times. I think it was a trick. I don't actually remember what happens in the end, but I think it was all a trick to infiltrate.
Much about G.I. Joe at all because I barely ever watched it. It wasn't something I was super into when the reruns came on.
Yeah.
I do remember one time, I don't remember if it was the Cobra Commander or not, but somebody got turned into a snake. And I saw that scene because that's the scene where the "I was once a man" gets memed from.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And I realized, so like I said, I was watching it. It was on while I was kind of dozing off. And I was like listening to the voices and I was like, oh my God, that's Optimus Prime. It's totally Peter Cullen.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what character it was, but I was like, oh yeah, I recognize that voice.
The other thing is, I like him as like a voice actor. I like other voices he's done. I actually do not like the Optimus Prime voice, though. And I don't think it's his fault. I think it's because they're trying to make him sound like a robot. And even compared to, like, other Autobots, he just sounds overly tinny. Like, whatever his voice projector just isn't as high quality as the other, like, Autobots on his team.
Well, maybe because he has an especially deep voice.
Yeah.
That maybe they
just
had to
didn't balance it
overcorrect.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, a deeper voice than most of the other actors, and so, or the characters anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe they overcorrected to make it, because a lot of the other characters, they have higher voices and they already sound, I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah, because
take
they have
much.
like a sharp twang to their voice by comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe they But like, it was interesting to hear him talk in GI Joe, where they did not do that,
No.
and he sounds like a human, but he still had a very distinct voice.
Yeah, actually, I went through this recently too because it's like I didn't know what else he was in. I've seen his name before, but like off the top of my head, I didn't know. So I went through his IMDb. It's like this guy. His name pops up everywhere. He has to be a talented voice actor. I need to figure out the reason why I don't like Optimus Prime's voice. So I went through and I found clips of him in other things I knew. It's like, no, I do like his voice. It has to be a mastering thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is interesting that they changed it.
Yeah, Peter Cullen.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I was saying earlier that I fell asleep with the GI Joe like Hasbro YouTube channel on, just playing episodes over and over. And I had my eyes closed, and I was listening, and I distinctly heard Peter Cullen's voice in one of the characters. I don't know what character he played, but I definitely recognized him.
And then I even watched because, he comes back and he plays Optimus a lot. There's like 2 different people that play it, but he is the Optimus voice. I went and watched some later series too, even one that was new when I was a kid. It's like, oh, well, this isn't as bad. I think it was just a problem with the original show and the way they mastered it.
Interesting. So we were talking about Final Fantasy 15 and how confusing as hell it is. At least to me. I was like, I don't know what time you turned on the show, but I just remember, I think the first version I ever downloaded was the world building one.
Yeah.
And then later downloaded Final Fantasy 15 mobile, played that a little bit, and then finally they came out with like the real version, and I was like, what the hell is this game? Like what are they doing?
Because I was saying the Pocket version is kind of a good way to catch up on the story if you don't want to be bogged down by like how long the game is and all the weird stuff that makes you confused. But there's actually an even better way to catch up on every Final Fantasy story for somebody who's like, I kind of want to know what people are talking about, but I don't want to spend like the countless hours playing every single Final Fantasy game. And there's a game for the phone. It's a really fun game too. I love the sprites in it, called Final Fantasy Record Keeper. And one of the reasons I like about it is because it takes every single game, boils the story down into just like battle events, so you'll get like a little before the battle, a little after the battle, and go through everything. What's up with Marsupial's audio? I don't know. I think he's got like Optimus Prime mastering on him right now. There might be some interference or something, but you're kind of distorted into your microphone.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. But, Record Keeper. We'll have like a little cutscene before the battle, a little cutscene after the battle, and then it'll actually have you go through a battle. And you can use characters from like any Final Fantasy, but usually you prefer to use the ones from that world. And it'll let you go through like all the important events of every single Final Fantasy with Final Fantasy 6 style battle sprites. Like everything looks like it's from 6, even the later games that were all in CG. It's great.
Is my audio better now?
Yes.
Or worse or different?
No, it's better. It's normal.
Okay. For some reason, Discord, without asking me, I guess switched to I think the microphone in my headset is not very good.
I would assume it's not. It's a wireless mic.
Yeah. So, I don't know why Discord switched me, but now I'm
it does that
on my webcam mic. In fact, I even told it specifically to stop asking me and don't switch it.
Yeah, I keep telling it not to ask too, but every time I put in a new... Because I have to switch my USBs out. I still need to order a dongle. I haven't yet.
Yeah.
But I need to switch... I have to switch them out to do things. I only have 3 on this laptop inherently. And every time I switch it out, whether it's the webcam or the microphone, or sometimes I have to unplug my microphone and reset it because of my audio system. Since I have like a digital mixer and stuff like that. It'll just be like, hey, do you want to switch devices? No. I want you to continue to use my digital mixer. Stop it, Discord.
Stop asking me. I guess when I clicked to stop asking me, it must have thought I meant, oh, okay, so just switch whenever I want and don't tell you.
Yeah.
whatever.
He has the touch.
So,
He has
Record
the
Keeper,
power.
is that different for, there isn't there like a Final Fantasy like music rhythm game?
There is Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm, which I love.
Theater Rhythm.
You could get both Theater Rhythm and Curtain Call for the 3DS, which means you can also play them on Citra really easily. You definitely probably want to plug in a controller because it's best to use like the joystick, because the circle pad is how you play the game mostly. But yeah, you can emulate them easy, and they have arcade versions of it. The arcade version's really complicated because it uses two, roll balls for joysticks. So it's two joysticks. If you plug in a modern controller, if they have a Steam version of it, that would be easy because they have two joysticks. But it's like playing it was a lot different than playing it on the 3DS when I went to round one. It's like, oh, I have to do two different movements here. It's a fun game.
Diller makes a good point. You could also watch me play, but it wouldn't actually satisfy the criteria that Middle was saying.
Because he might stop.
He's saying. Well, no, but also you were saying in order to experience Final Fantasy without necessarily playing through each and every single one of them, which is what I'm doing.
Watch you play it means they're going to be investing the exact same amount of hours, or at best half the time if they watch it at twice the speed.
Right. Or they could just stop in every once in a while, see how things are going, and something
just
like
have
that.
To make a super clip where we just cut out all the grinding and go straight to the story bits.
Yeah, exactly. Plug in a Steam controller. The Areola controller is always interesting. I'm not familiar with that.
Well, the Steam controller, from what I know, doesn't actually have joysticks, right? It's got like these kind of like haptic touch pads.
Oh, is that what she's talking about?
Yeah, that might be.
A little nipple
So I remember
touch
this
pad.
comic back in the day where they were talking about the haptic feedback that it gives you, and in the comic, the controllers were actually just two portals going through, and when they put their thumbs through, on the other side of the portals were Gabe's nipples, and that's what the haptic feedback was.
Oh God.
Okay, they have a joystick and two haptic pads. Okay. I didn't see the joystick. I haven't looked at the controller in a while.
Interesting. Well, I might not stop at 6. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to playing 7. If I play 8, it'll be like an AVGN episode. I'll be like, or many episodes.
I don't...
I'll be like, God, I hate this game.
8 is that bad, though. I don't think it's good or great. I think it's about average. Because personally, I would say 8's about the same as 7. Right? Like, people have a lot of big nostalgia for 7. I don't think 7's that great of a game. It's not bad. And then a lot of people like to hate on 8. Or some people, it's their favorite game. It's like, playing both of them, and I played them back-to-back too, like, several years ago. They feel about the same quality to me. It's just because they tried to make the graphics of 8 a lot better without actually having the ability to make them better. They look worse. They don't hold up as well.
Yeah, I
would
remember
say
like
hopefully,
some themes.
by the time you get to them, the Switch double pack for the HD upscale of 7 and 8 would already be out, and then you could just play those versions of the game.
Is that different from what's out now?
Well, there's the digital version that's in the Switch, right?
Yeah.
Which, I guess it is an upscale, but it's the original PC version of 7 and 8, because they don't have access to the discs for PlayStation anymore. But what they're putting out is an actual HD model remake, so the game will be exactly the same, but with HD models.
Huh.
The
Really?
thing that, I wanted from 7 in the first place. It's going to be a double pack. We were talking about this back in December, I think. Yeah. It's going to be physical release, too. Was it December? It might have been November, but we were talking about it last, late fall, early winter podcast stuff. before the year changed over.
Oh, I see. Okay. Switch Final Fantasy 7 and 8 remastered twin pack.
Yep. And that's what I wanted the whole time. I didn't want a Final Fantasy VII remake where they redo the story and change things. I just wanted an HD remaster of the game.
So wait a second. Is this not available in the eShop?
Is it out yet? That's the
It
question.
is.
Oh, it is. Well, then it should be available in the eShop.
I'm seeing it on Amazon.
Yeah. If it's already out, then it should be available in the eShop. It's just clearly a different thing than the Final Fantasy and 7 and 8 that were in the eShop before, because they had the original versions in there.
That's what I have on my
Switches available.
I know, that's what I have on my wish list. I'm gonna go look. I recently got the Mega Man Legacy collection because it was on sale for like 50% off.
Yeah. But that's definitely the versions you should play when you get to them, because they'll look nicer, but they'll still be functionally the same games.
Well,
and knowing them,
yeah,
they'll probably have modified versions. Like, actually, I think even the Switch version of 7 has this, because they add these things in, where you could speed up the time, which makes grinding a breeze.
Okay, so I have on my wish list it says Final Fantasy VIII remastered.
Okay, then that's the one you want. Yeah.
But it doesn't. The Final Fantasy VII doesn't say remastered.
We should both have a remastered version in there.
Oh, I'm confused. Yeah.
Let me look.
It just says Final Fantasy VII.
Also, where's my charger? I haven't charged my Switch in like a week. I barely play it. I'm too busy making stuff. But that is definitely the version of the game you should be playing.
Says this game is a port of the original Final Fantasy VII. The following extra features are included: 3x speed mode, ability to turn battle encounters off, battle enhancement mode.
Oh yeah, I don't see the remastered one in here at all. Going through all the Final Fantasy stuff. Only for 8. Is that something that's exclusive to the Twin Pack? Can you not buy that digitally?
Well, now, wait a minute. So the Twin Pack says Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII Remastered.
Oh, so 7 doesn't get a remaster.
Yeah.
See, that was the confusing part, because in the article that I read when we talked about this months ago, the way they worded it implied that both of them were getting the HD remastering.
36. Man,
so that was a
way
poorly
more
worded
expensive.
article then.
It's way more expensive if you buy the Twin Pack than if you buy them separately on the eShop.
Yeah, I would imagine. The Twin Pack is kind of a collector's edition.
Yeah. But yeah, they didn't remaster 7, but they did add the 3x speed thing that you mentioned.
They need to remaster 7. I don't want to play their dumb remake. I just want an HD upscale of 7. That's it. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Better models. Just do it.
Well, I mean, it looks HD upscale, but the same exact models.
Yeah, I want the models to be HD as well. Just because you scale up the whole game doesn't mean the models are. There's still those cheap polygons that they used back then.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You get the weird Popeye forearms and everything.
It's a little more necessary for 8, though, because there are scenes where people love to make fun of this, too, where it's like Squall is sitting there leaning against a wall in his formal outfit, and they talk about how he's such a handsome man, but then when you look at his face, it's just like blurry pixels, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember just because I've only played the beginning. I've only played it for like 30 minutes, and there's like these zoomed out scenes where they're just like pixels. It looks like that game Sword and Sorcery, Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery, where it's just like pixel people. It's just like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Buck
You couldn't
says if
see
they
them
did an
barely.
HD remaster, people would buy that instead of the remake. They need people to experience their revised history. I would still rather play the non-remastered version than their remake, so it's not that effective of a strategy.
You know, well, you know, the normies would play it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. GMT says, I wanted the same from Sam and Max Save the World. What they did made me sad.
I don't think normies actually like Final Fantasy VII, to be honest. Right? I don't think most people that say it's the best Final Fantasy and stuff actually like it. I think they like the idea of it and what they know of the game, but I don't think most of them have actually played it or played through it if they have. Because my friend Stan brought this up. He has a podcast called Stanpie's Soapbox. And I was like, yes, thank you for saying this, because this kind of surmises all of my feelings of Final Fantasy VII over the years. Most people who claim to like 7 don't even understand the first thing about like any of the characters in the game. They tell you like they're fan fiction versions of the characters, right? Like the idea that Cloud is emo. Cloud's not emo. Cloud is going through like a genuine existential crisis because of a lot of stuff that's going on in his world. He doesn't even act emo until like the second half of the story anyway, if you're gonna claim that. He's pretending to be a tough guy because this is his image of what a hero is. He's too cool for school. And then he goes through like a genuine existential crisis. The death of Zack starts catching up with him. There's even a part where you're inside his own head because Cloud's like in a coma for a while. And then he has to go through with the death of Aeris. And by the end of the game, he pretty much gets over it. And then people don't get it because they see him being kind of depressed in Advent Children. But it's like, well, the geostigma kind of reignited all these feelings, and then he never really got over Zack and Aeris. But you see him, like, pumped up and smiling by the end of the movie, and he's finally over everything. But my friend Stan brought up a really good point, and I think I agree with him as to why people have this image of Cloud, right? The reason their current image of Cloud is because of the Kingdom Hearts depiction of Cloud and Sephiroth. Because every internet depiction of those characters and the way people talk about them is Kingdom Hearts, and Cloud is like genuinely emo for no reason in Kingdom Hearts in a world where Aeris is still alive.
Had no reason to be emo. Damn it.
I like Cloud. Cloud's a good character. He just wants to be a hero. That's all he wants. He wanted to be a soldier. He never made it to the rank of soldier, but then after Zack died, he took his credentials and everything and was masquerading as soldier class the entire time. Yeah. Well, we don't know if Zack is still alive by the time Cloud is around. Zack was in Birth by Sleep, which is a prequel, and he was young. Zack could be dead by the time the main games happen, for all we know. I'm not going to push that one too far, but Aeris, for a fact, is still alive. Yeah. But Cloud just wants to be a hero. He's masquerading as a hero. In fact, his whole journey on being a hero kind of starts with the death of Zack. And it takes him the whole game and even a movie to finally admit he is a hero. He has been the whole time. He didn't have to become one. By taking the call, that's what made him a hero. There's actually a lot of really good philosophical stuff to Final Fantasy VII that nobody fucking gets because they don't pay attention to the game. And 8's got a lot of good stuff too. But admittedly, 8 is confusing as fuck. Especially because, like, most of your experience, spoilers, but also not really, because what I'm about to say won't make sense until you play the game, is kind of a dream, sort of, ish.
Yeah, I hate it already.
Yeah. But there's a lot of good philosophical stuff in that, too. I actually think, like, the philosophy of the Final Fantasy games are great, but most people don't ever notice it, because you have to, like, really be intently paying attention to what's going on to pick up on all, like, the philosophical story elements that are going down.
Yeah. So the question is, who is the main character of Final Fantasy VI?
The main character in Final Fantasy VI?
Yeah.
That actually is a tough one, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it is Tina Branford or Terra here in the stateside.
Mm-hmm. Sort of. Did you know
Yeah.
Edgar has the most lines though?
Yeah. But also, to be fair,
Of course,
Tina
Mog is on
barely
the front
ever
cover.
talks.
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't expect her to, because you want to talk about somebody going through an existential crisis. What happens when you wake up from being mind controlled for years of your life and then find out that you're half Esper?
Mm-hmm.
And that you've just been a puppet of war for years. Like, I think her being kind of like more of a depressed emo character than Cloud is by many degrees is justified. I mean, Tina's life is kind of shit, and she's killed a lot of people, not even of her own volition.
Yeah. On the other hand, it does start out in Locke's hometown.
Yeah, but the game also starts out
Mm-hmm.
with Tina, and Wedge and Biggs. Those are the characters' names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the second half starts out with Celes,
Yep.
and she ends up with Locke, which is kind of interesting. So I don't know.
Tina might have ended up with somebody if General Leo didn't die.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it was funny because I watched a video earlier that was like it's kind of like one of those lore in a minute things where it starts out with all the characters arguing over who's the main character.
Yeah, because also justifiably, Locke could easily be the main character of the story. Like you said, it starts off in Narsh, but also there's a lot of heavier story elements because everybody's kind of got like their different thing you have to do in the second half of the game after you re-recruit them, and they got like their side mission. And of all the people's side missions, Locke's is not only the most important, but it's the one that can introduce you to the full use of the party mechanic when you go into the Phoenix Cave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his is the one that requires the most people in the party to come in and help him with it, and kind of seems like it is the heaviest, I guess, event in the post-game, or not the post-game, but the second half or final act section.
Mm-hmm. You know, I got that game when it came out for the SNES, and I played it, and you just reminded me, I got all the way to the Phoenix Cave. That's the one where you break up into 3 parties, right?
Yes. The first time you break up into 3 instead of just 2, which you see that again in Kefka's Final Assault.
Yeah. So at least in my version, and I've heard other people had this problem as well.
Not the first time. When the Mughals introduce you to it, that's the first time, but nobody counts that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But basically, when I got to the Phoenix Cave, there was a bug that basically crashed the game when you split up into 3 parties.
Yeah.
And I ended up I took it back to the store, and of course they gave me a hard time because this was like 3 months after I bought it, because I'd been playing it for that long to get there. Yeah. And I was like, what was I supposed to do? I didn't know this, it was fine up until this point, but they ended up giving me a new one. And that one worked, and I ended up playing it a second time over from the beginning. All the way through to the end, actually, when I was a kid.
Yeah, you must have got a later distribution, because as many people may not remember, before the days of patches, and why you can find this with ROMs, there was actually version numbers of games, because if there was a bug and the company did decide to fix it, the only way they could was by printing out and releasing another version of the game later on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't have any idea if it was like tied to something that I did earlier in the game, or what the deal was, like
another version or not.
Yeah, or if, I mean, I'm guessing it was a different version. Either that, or there was an actual hardware failure or something.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I brought it in, and the guy it was like, I don't know if it was a GameStop. I don't think GameStop even existed. It was probably an EB Games.
That or Funko Land. Remember Funko Land?
Yeah.
I miss Funko Land.
And I actually was able to put it into their demo, SNES unit, and boot up the game and went to where I was already saved right there, and I was like, I showed him and it crashed. It's like it's a defect, and I was like, and it took me this long to get this far in the game. So
now, no store would even do that for you, even if you could replicate it. Like, whatever, you paid for the game, that's just games. They might patch it eventually.
Even if he had it, they might actually patch it at that point.
Yeah, now you can patch it. Even if they never do, that would be the store's excuse. It's like, they might patch it eventually. We're not going to take the game back or give you a new one.
Yeah, I guess.
Buck has a good
Hopefully.
point. So Link has the least lines in all of Legend of Zelda. Doesn't mean he's not still the main character. It does mean that because the game's name is The Legend of Zelda. So you're wrong.
Zelda's the main character, clearly.
Even in the game she doesn't appear in.
Just like in Super Mario Brothers, Bowser is clearly the hero.
Yeah. Because he has the most lines.
That's right. Yeah. No, I never, before watching that video today, I never doubted that Terra was the main character.
Yeah, by default. I think the games even basically refer to her as... Like, here's my way of defaulting to it. I play more than just the main Final Fantasy games. Anytime there's a representative from 6 shows up, she's the representative, which clearly means Square recognizes her as the main character of the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's her story.
Yeah.
It starts with her, pretty much ends with her. She's flying next to the airship and everything.
Yeah.
The second airship.
The most crucial parts of the story involve around her. Like, talk about important characters that you lose. Bannon is mostly directly tied to her. General Leo is directly tied to her. There's the whole Esper thing where the Magicite comes from and stuff. Her father was kind of like the de facto tribes leader of that area, and her story is completely wrapped in. It's like there's too much of her in the story to not be the main character.
Yeah.
Edgar has the most lines because the guy never shuts up.
Yeah. There just happen to be 13 other... Are there 14 characters, playable characters in that game?
I'm trying to think.
Because I feel like at the end you've got 12... You can have up to 12 characters playable in that section.
Yeah.
But like, you always end up with with Gogo and Umaro. Does anyone ever choose them for the final 12? I don't know.
I actually like Gogo. Depending on like who you put in the composition of the party, the mimic skill that the mime can use can actually be really good. Like if you put him with 2 people that are heavy magic users, it's really good because then he'll just repeat it. I actually liked using Gogo in my main party where I would have Locke and Terra, because Terra can dual cast and Gogo can mimic that. So then you get like the same spell 4 times in that turn. If things tend to work out. So you also need to make sure that you have your team spec'd properly. There's a lot that goes into this to where everybody has like agility within the certain range of each other, so they go in a certain order, and that's too much metagaming for most people to care about.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The mime is the best class when you get into metagaming. If not, it seems useless, because like, how am I actually supposed to make use of this character? I can't decide what he's going to do.
Yeah. It's I can't control what he's gonna do unless I get into the deep lore of the
Yeah.
the mechanics of it.
Because you have to equip the right Magicite and level him up for so long, so it's like, okay, I want Locke to have the most agility, then I want Terra to have the second most, then I want Gogo to have the third, so that Gogo will most of the time go right after Terra, and then I don't really care as long as the other person doesn't go before these guys.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm still at the, like I said, I was wanting to stream earlier today, but slept instead. But yeah, I'm at the end of Final Fantasy 3. Hopefully. I've noticed that all of the four upcoming bosses all have 100,000 HP, which is more than that yellow dragon that was so annoying, and that had 80,000, and then the final boss has 200,000. So
Yeah.
should be quite a grind to get to the end.
Yeah, but once you have like a really high-powered black belt, he just starts, chipping through everything like nothing.
Yeah, but he's not yet. That's the problem. I don't know if he's going to be by the end. That's my main problem. I think I've got him up to what, level 25 or something, level 20, as far as the job level.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I need to get him up to at least 50.
It's not hard to get to at least 50. It's getting a class to 99 that becomes the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading through, like, Onion Knight, at least in this version, you should switch to Onion Knight at level 92, or maybe level 91. Because from 92 to 99, they get their stats get ridiculous, like incredibly high.
Yeah.
Just for those levels.
But to get the Onion Knight, you have to go out of your way and do all of these Mognet jobs, like the side quests.
Yeah. Now, when it says 92 to 99, are they talking about your character level or the job level?
Well, if it's telling you to switch at that level, then that would have to be the character level, because if you switch to the Onion Knight, it's going to be level 0 until you start leveling it up.
Yeah. I assume they mean character level.
Yeah.
Because basically your growth, your stat growth, is based on your current job whenever you level up. So.
Yeah. Could be worse. Could be a black belt who dies in one shot. Well, I mean, that actually does kind of happen in Final Fantasy III. Black belts are somewhat glass cannons. They can only use light armor, which is great that they do more damage than anything else in the game, because eventually if you want them to be dying less, you could just move them to the back row and they're still doing more damage than your mages are from back there. The black belt job is really broken.
They get decent armor near the end. I got the best armor for a black belt.
Yeah, it's okay.
And it's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a ribbon for all. There are 4 ribbons in the last dungeon, and I've got, I think, 1 already. But
yeah,
there are 4.
No, that I believe was actually the case in the Famicom version too. This is like the first game. It's like, you got 4 characters. We're gonna give you 4 ribbons.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike previous games, no, you get 3. Decide which one doesn't get it.
Yeah. And I think it's better armor than any of the. Does it replace the helmet, or I think. I don't know. Whatever it replaces, it's actually,
because they don't have an accessory slot in that game. It's just like head, body, arms, and I believe the ribbon, as an original intent, was actually drawn to be a ribbon you wear on your head, like a girl would wear. And that's why most of the time it's like head armor.
Mm-hmm.
But later on, the ribbon's actually just kind of shown as being like this glowing red fabric that you could tie around anywhere because it's an accessory.
Yeah. Clearly in Advent Children, they had accessory slots.
Yeah.
They had an accessory.
That didn't help you against Geostigma. I don't know, like, ribbon, fucking lying to me. You don't solve all status ailments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's with Geostigma?
Yeah, fucking Geostigma. Yeah.
Oh, well. The other thing that recently came about was, I don't know if you've seen it, but the most recent AVGN episode, Angry Video Game Nerd, for those who don't know, was about the Dragon Quest timeline.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
And
I should watch it.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I didn't know there was a Dragon Quest timeline. I knew 1, 2, and I thought they were just completely separate trilogies. So I thought 1, 2, 3 was one world, 4, 5, 6 was another. I don't know, I guess 7, 8, 9 or whatever. But I mean, we're up to 11 now. And apparently, even though I haven't gotten to it yet, so a bit of a spoiler alert, 11 is apparently the Skyward Sword of Dragon Quest, in that it takes place before all the others.
Wondering that, because a lot of people had been saying that that's a good time to jump into the series, and I didn't know why. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I just play one of the earlier ones, especially when a lot of people have been saying 8 is like the best one.
Yeah. Well, apparently, if you want to understand the timeline a bit, 11 is sort of the Skyward Sword / Ocarina of Time of Dragon Quest, because right after 11, the timeline splits into 3.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was like a split timeline. I always just assumed they were in the same series because I hadn't played it that deeply, and they always talk about different ancestors, right? Like there's different heroes that you're the descendant of in different games. I just assumed it's like, oh, well, maybe enough time has passed that this more recent one is the only one that people remember anymore. Yeah. But I guess that's not the case.
Well, the 11 ties directly into the Erdrick timeline,
okay,
or the Erdrick descendancy timeline. I guess I won't go into exactly how, but it does tie in. It definitely ties into 1, 2, and 3. But then it also there's if you watch the AVGN episode, you'll understand a bit more that it does also tie into all the others in a way. And frankly, the timeline split in Dragon Quest is more reasonable and understandable than The Legend of Zelda.
Well, it's probably because unlike Zelda, they actually thought about this when they were writing it.
Yeah, apparently. But one to interestingly 3, they kind of repeated the same pattern a couple of times, because 3 was a prequel to 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I believe 6 was a prequel to 4 and 5.
See, I liked 4. I thought 4 was a good game. 4 was the last one that I played that I liked. I did not like the 3 after that. Not mechanically was fine. It's just I thought the stories were just fucking stupid for 5, 6, and obviously I guess 7 was not related to them directly, but I thought the stories for 5 and 6 were especially stupid. And that's why everyone's like, no, play 8, play 8, play 8's better. It's like, okay, I'll play 8. Eventually,
I remember when 8 came out, and it was said, like, everyone was like, oh yeah, this is the best one yet. This is definitely the best one. Interestingly, Dragon Quest X has never been released in the United States or in the West. I didn't even realize that. It's not been released outside of Japan.
They didn't even bring it over when they were doing like all of these 3DS ports and stuff?
Apparently not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably beyond 3DS. I think it would need to
maybe,
be.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know that 7, 8, and 9 all got 3DS releases.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think 4, 5, and 6 were on the DS. Is that right?
Did they have a version of each of those on the DS?
I'm almost positive.
I'll take your word on it. I don't remember.
In fact, I think that's how I played them. I don't think I ever beat them all, but I did play 4, 5, and 6 on the DS. So, but yeah, I was just watching that video, and the timeline even includes like all these other spin-offs and stuff.
I like the animes and stuff like that too.
Yeah, well, I don't know if the anime, but other games, Dragon Quest Monsters.
What's it? The Legend of Dai is canon. That, which is a manga, and they made an anime, and they actually recently last year rebooted. They started another anime that was better animated and didn't have filler in it so far. And that one is canon to the world of Dragon Quest. I don't believe the Dragon Warrior anime is canon. That was just like some made-up thing because, who was it? Saban had gotten the license to it, so they just made a Dragon Warrior anime back in like 91 or something like that.
Another thing I didn't realize was that the reason they didn't call it Dragon Quest was because there was a United States IP of Dragon Quest already when they brought it over. I think there was either a video game or a role-playing game or something called Dragon. So they couldn't call it Dragon Quest. Until later, I guess, until the copyright expired or trademark or whatever it was.
That could be the case. If it was a tabletop RPG or whatever, then it could have been before they distinguished between board games and video games in trademark. And after being distinguished, then there was no dispute there. That could also be a case. I would probably think I would lean more towards what you said before, though, because I think at this point they could make anything in Dragon Quest and nobody would argue against them, including their own tabletop RPG or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the other one died out and just let whatever it was expire or whatever.
Yeah. I do know, so the actual, the Japanese name that you use, because they actually have a Dragon Warrior anime too that use the American name, but the word is guardian or warrior, which is where the word senshi comes from. And that's what they translate, because it means warrior, guardian, hero, and soldier. And the reason they picked the word Dragon Warrior is because senshi means hero, and that's the name of the character in the game. And they translated it, and it just happened to translate to warrior. So realistically, the name of the game we could have had for the whole NES era of Dragon Quest could have been Dragon Hero, Dragon Soldier, Dragon Warrior, or Dragon Guardian, because that's what that word could translate to in any way. And we just ended up with Warrior. I like the name Dragon Warrior.
So, how did it become Dragon Quest?
Well, the Dragon Quest is the name of the game. They were using the name of the character when they were trying to come up with a different name here in the States.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. The character in there is the senshi, which is the hero, but that word can mean multiple things.
So the game in Japan has always been Dragon Quest. Yeah. Okay. And apparently, I didn't even realize this, that it came out in Japan before Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah. In fact, there's stories where the popularity of Dragon Quest is what, I'm not going to say inspired Final Fantasy as a game, but inspired the creation of Final Fantasy. You can see Dragon Quest influence on literally every RPG that came out of Japan shortly after. But the original director of Final Fantasy had even said that after seeing Dragon Quest, he was already on the phone with the company as to getting the rights to making their own RPG. But you could also tell that they rolled back to where Dragon Quest got the inspiration, which is clearly Dungeons & Dragons, to base it off of that and not look too much of a derivative of Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
But other games like Earthbound, you can see, is clearly based off of Dragon Quest as well, and you see it everywhere. And most people will tell you, too. They won't even hide it. It's Dragon Quest is the reason why we made this game.
Yeah. It didn't come out until after Final Fantasy in the United States.
Yeah. Dragon Quest has permeated the Japanese video game culture so deeply that if you're not aware that, it would shock you to understand how many references and influences there are for it. Even, actually, one of my favorite ones was recently. A lot of people didn't like this game because they're not fans of JRPGs. They wanted the Yakuza series to just kind of stay the same as the Yakuza series, and I don't blame them at all. I like games, at least their mainline games, to stay the same. So everybody has a right to complain. Yakuza 7 is a JRPG. Should have been a spin-off game, and the spin-off that plays more like Yakuza should have been Yakuza 7. Whatever. But in the middle of it, too, the main character, they have a reason for it. He's kind of has a concussion or some brain damage that's causing him to actually see the world like a JRPG, so that you understand that the world isn't moving in turn-based. He's just seeing, that's how he's interpreting the events that's happening. And he even says at one point, this is just like in Dragon Quest.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just remember, you mentioned Dragon Quest VIII. When that came out, there were, news stories in the U.S. about how crazy it was, just lines for miles to get it, and how the Japanese were just crazy for this series. They just loved it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Dragon Quest doesn't compete. Like, it is just becomes such a staple of culture. It's almost like Mario. Mario games don't compete with other games in the same like genre or anything like that. Dragon Quest doesn't either. It's one of the reasons Square was so down for this merger too, because Final Fantasy never competed with Dragon Quest. It was just fighting to survive, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Its competition was over there at Sega with like Phantasy Star and stuff. Dragon Quest was just its own thing, beating out everybody.
Yeah.
So the best thing that could ever happen to Square was the merger with Enix.
Yeah, and interestingly though, Square was sort of the dominant company though.
Because they had other stuff underneath them already. So while Dragon Quest was Enix's big thing, which they had other stuff involved too, but they just weren't ever as popular, Square had just become a bigger company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dragon Quest always had that sort of kawaii style to it. It was kind of interesting.
Well, a lot of it comes from Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, who is the artist and main storyline designer for the Dragon Quest series.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the Dragon Quest movie on Netflix yet?
No, still haven't. Dude, you have no idea how far behind I am on so many different things.
I'm telling you, it's decent. I didn't particularly like the ending, but it's basically like watching the Dragon Quest game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much like a game. It's just skipping the grinding.
Maybe I'll watch it this week because which again something we'll get to in the last block. I don't have to make assets for the RPG this week because you guys are already everywhere that I have prepared, even where you're heading into the future. It's going to take you so long to get through this dungeon, but I have several things prepared that have just been sitting there. It's like I don't have to make fresh stuff for you guys in the upcoming sessions.
Yeah.
Which you have no idea how much of my time that takes up.
But
yeah.
So yeah, highly recommend if you're a fan. It's like 100% fan service. It's just like totally.
Yeah.
It's like from the music and the art and just the story and everything. There's something about a Zenithian something or other, and I don't know. It's just all fan service. If you're familiar with the game.
Yeah. It's actually last night, instead of going to movie night because I had absolutely no interest in watching Crawl, I was watching a good friend of mine that I've known for many years now. He was playing through the original Dragon Quest. He started a playthrough of it. Nice little setup too. It's actually my friend Stan. I was talking about him earlier. Had like this text box on the side where it would read the chat in the pixelated type text, and it looked like a Dragon Quest text box. It was pretty fun. Yeah.
I could change my text box.
You could. Anybody can.
I could change it. I could change the font if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's just putting the effort in. That's it.
It doesn't even take any effort.
Well, I mean, minimal effort, but some people wouldn't even put that in.
I might have to download a font, but
yeah. Like I don't bother to change the text box. I got this default comic bubble one down there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. One of these days, I got to figure out other stuff with streaming that I see other people do. Like, there's all these add-ons that you can do, put interactivity into your streams. I don't really know how those work, but
they're easy.
I'm sure I could figure it out. Not to mention stream avatars. I've actually been considering getting stream avatars. Have you seen that?
No.
Well, I guess it does. I think it takes too much. I don't know what you call it. I've seen like there's a couple of streamers that play stream avatars. So when people log into their streams, a little character appears and walks around like on the bottom of your stream with their name. And then what you can do if you want to, there's actually a separate game where people watching your stream can play this game, you'd have to pause whatever you're actually doing, and like it's one of these things where like it's like an idle game type thing, where as you're watching someone stream, you can go and you can insert heroes into this battlefield, and then every 20 minutes or 30 minutes there's a battle, and then, you know, depending on how many people have inserted heroes over time into your battlefield, you win or lose and get prizes.
Stream Raiders is what Buck
Stream
says.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen this stuff before. But it kind of reminds me of some of those Nintendo Street Pass games, like the Kingdom one, just the way you're talking about, where it'll have like all the Mii's faces on there and they run into battle together.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems to be, well, see, I'm not sure if they're related. So there's Stream Avatars and Stream Raiders. And the one person that I watch that does both of them. And so I don't know if it's exactly the same thing or if they're related or tied together. I don't really understand it.
I don't know.
But,
I mean, it seems like a cool thing. It doesn't seem like something I would do. I don't know. I'm kind of like really square on this, where because I've had been making video game related content for a long time, I kind of just like that pure, sure, I can interact with the chat, but this is almost going up for posterity to where anybody can come back and rewatch this and enjoy it type thing.
mm-hmm. You know, I found I was going to sync my stuff up with Odyssey. And I set that up and everything. And then it turns out you have to have at least 300.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way too. There's like all these little checks that they're like, you have to meet these requirements, and the 300 subscribers is like the first one.
Yeah. I was like, why didn't they say that? I mean, you know, not like I put a lot of time into it.
I would have liked to know that before I started the process. Because I kept checking in like every few days or so it could be up to a week.
Mm-hmm. Although it only took a day for them to come back and say, we're not going to do it.
Took me a week and a half before they told me.
Weird. I guess they've improved that. Yeah, because I was going to check, because when I logged in a few hours after I started it, and it said this could take up to a week. But then I logged in the next day, and it was like, nope, denied.
Rick's on there.
Does he have 300 subscribers?
Rick is, yeah, he's got like over 500, I think.
Wow. Well, I'm close. I'm like 250, 260 something, so.
Yeah.
Guess I'll have to try again later.
Yes, we can see you, Mr. Squeakers.
It works. Yeah, but I can't remember who it was. Maybe Leia Luck or something like that on Twitch does Stream Raiders. It's kind of cute, but yeah, I thought about doing it, but then after watching her do it a little while, I was like, this is too much effort. Like, this is too much to do between like the other game that you're playing. Let's get the second.
It breaks up the flow of things, and I don't like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I even tried, you know, when I was playing it, I went and participated, but then I got sick of it as a watcher. I was like, okay, I'm sick of this.
Yeah, I'm here to watch this game, and your commentary over this game.
If I'm watching you, I want to be passive. I really don't want to participate. If I wanted to participate, I'd fire up my own stream.
Yeah. Oh, that's when everybody gets onto Rick for relying on the chat to entertain people, right? It's like the chat doesn't need to be participatory for there to be a show, you know? You got to be able to have a show as if nobody's going to show up.
Yeah. I guess obviously her chat enjoys it.
Yeah,
so
I mean, that must be why they show up.
Yeah, but I don't think it's for me. Plus, it's not free. Apparently for a while, Stream Avatars was on Steam and it was a free download, but now you have to pay $15 for it.
Yeah, I'm not about that life.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do that.
But you know, I feel the same when I watch streams. If it's somebody I know personally, maybe I'll interact frequently. If not, I might say one or two things as something comes up. But for the most part, I kind of like the passive experience too. Especially if I have another monitor or something set up, I just want something I can leave to the side while I'm doing something else. You know, I want that's my entertainment. I'm not coming to your chat to go to work.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, chat. Let's get to work. Fighting this battle. I'm like, what? What? No, I'm just here to lurk for the most part.
I love lurking.
Yeah. So speaking of things that are on Steam, maybe we should have a regular segment of things that we didn't know was on Steam, but we just recently found out.
Sure.
And cool.
There's too much stuff on Steam, you know?
What's that?
I said there's too much stuff on Steam. Well, real quick before you say that, just remind people that Red Dead Redemption is still $5 until February 15 if you want the online only. We have been playing that on streams. I might even stream it myself some, just because to play any game, I hate having to wait on Rick's schedule of once a month on a Friday. So if anybody wants to play Red Dead Online with me and a couple other people, you can pick it up for $5 on Steam right now.
That's cool.
Now, yeah, back to what you were saying.
And you don't have to pay to be online with that?
Once you have it, you have it.
Neat. I don't think Red Dead Redemption is my game. Is my kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna pay for it. I don't think I'm gonna get even for $5 because I would never play it. But that's just me. It does look cool, so if you like it, definitely. So this was another one. I watched too much Cinemassacre, I think. This one I got from Mike Matei, and one of his, I think it was something about obscure gems or something like that. There's a game called Double Dragon Neon.
I'm aware of that.
Okay, that looks really awesome.
Yeah.
That I might, but it's basically a new, well, not new. It came out 7 years ago, but still, it's a newer Double Dragon, and it's a beat 'em up, but with fairly modern graphics.
It's a good game,
and it's on Steam for $10.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I also highly recommend River City Girls for people who like beat 'em ups that are modern in the same universe.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people forget that Double Dragons is in the Kunio-kun, or I guess the English name for it, River City, kind of storyline verse thing. It's a side story along all that. You even see both the main characters show up in River City, in River City Girls. They run shops.
Bimmy and Jimmy?
Yep. And River City Girls, they're voiced by the Game Grumps.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So wait, is Double Dragon a side story to River City?
In the Kunio-ku franchise.
Interesting. Hey, John Dillard, it do what it do. Just wanted to say that.
Yep.
So yeah. Anyway, Double Dragon Neon. I might get it. It's in my. I find these interesting games and I put them in my wish list, and then may or may not buy them at some point in the future. The other interesting game on Steam that I've recently discovered, which I know you know of, is Valkyrie Drive.
Oh yeah.
Bikuni, which apparently is about a bunch of girls who, when they get excited, they turn into weapons. Like when they get sexually aroused.
Yeah. Valkyrie Drive's a whole ass franchise too. It's not just like one game.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was probably Switchpoint that posted a video on Minds of a girl, anime girl getting sexually aroused, and then she turns into a gigantic weapon of some sort. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I think was it you who pointed out, oh, by the way, it's also a video game?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, right in the wish list. Right in the Steam wish list. Oh my god. The Dillard box. What is that?
I'm gonna be sending a box to all my YouTube homies. Oh, is this kind of like a loot box, but Dillard stuff? I'm always down for, like, shit, you know? Well, as long as it's not literal shit. If you're gonna take a box and take a dump in it and send it to me, I don't want that. But anything else, probably sure. Or Anthrax, I don't want that either.
If there's a chance that it might have a buckler hat, I'm totally down.
He said, I'm going to have... yeah, okay, so it's like an actual loot box. Yeah, I like loot boxes. He's going to have crap from him and his channel. Yeah. That's cool.
That sounds awesome.
I'll open it up on stream. We could open it up on this stream. Not the current one running, but this channel when we do the show.
GMT makes a good point. You could do things that are still in early access. Of course, that would be a very long list. But here's a thing that's no longer. I have a third thing.
Yep.
That's no longer in early access. It's actually finally got released on February 1st. A little game called Pumpkin Days, which is, it's basically a, what do you call it? Stardew Valley.
Oh, Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon type game. Yeah, it's a Harvest Moon. You know,
just like what's the other one? Story of Seasons is the other spiritual successor that is popular these days.
Yeah, I played Story of Seasons Trio of Towns actually. But yeah, I had seen it. I never actually bought it, but I'd watched other people play it when it was in early access for like a year or two, and just came out of early access a week ago. So it's actually available.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to put Stardew on my wish list so I can look at the next time it's on sale. I need to get a Steam copy of that game.
Well, if and when you do, let me know, and I will, if you don't know already, I will send you a list of my favorite mods.
Yeah, I'll look through them and see if there's any I want. I kind of like the game vanilla, but I know there's certain quality of life things that are helpful.
Yeah, I don't, I think I've said this many times before, but I don't particularly like mods that break the game totally, but I do like quality of life type things. Like, some of my favorite mods are like the, well, I could actually look at them, like the range display, which like when you put down a scarecrow, it'll show you where it will actually scare the crows away. Because in game it doesn't tell you, so you don't know exactly how close you need to put them to your crops. And there's another one recently that I got. What was it called? Oh, Better Ranching, that puts a little icon over the heads of all of your animals, and to tell you whether or not you have petted them. I guess that's. You're supposed to pet them once a day, so that they become friendly, and then they give you better, crop, or they, give you better milk or whatever.
No, Dillard's still explaining this thing on the side here. So it's almost like a Secret Santa type thing, like a passive forward. Because he says you can add to the box with crap from your own channel, or original art, or whatever. You could take stuff out, but you must replace it, whatever you take, with something else, and there'll be a list of people, so when you're done with the box, you send it to the next person on the list. Which can be interesting, because it means like everybody is opening it on their channel, so it's kind of like a pass it forward thing, I guess. And they can see what's been added to the box, what's been changed. So it's almost like a game of telephone, or it's kind of like, what's that called? Geo... something.
Oh, geocaching.
Geocaching, yeah. It's almost like a geocaching, except instead of going to the thing, it's coming to you. Because usually in geocaching, the etiquette is that if you take something out of the treasure, the geocache box, you put something else in it for the next person that comes to find it.
Yeah, this sounds like it's getting to be
fun.
Hard work, though. So does that mean I need to create swag for my channel?
I guess.
Ugh. The only art I have for my channel is the logo that John Dillard created for me. You could only show what you chose to keep, otherwise it's not really going to be that interesting in the long term. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that could be.
It's a good point.
Unless some random person decides to take everything out and just put in an equal number of their own stuff in. Then they'll have no idea what went in.
But like, what if you don't have stuff?
I don't know.
Like, what kind of stuff are we talking about?
The stuff kind.
Talk about branded swag, right?
This is or whatever the viewer might want. Put in an old pair of socks.
You want this pen from Walmart? From
Well,
from
if there's
my
an
from
e-girl
my
on the list, she could put in her panties.
who?
I said if there was an e-girl on the list, she could put in her panties. That'd be something the viewer might want.
Put Holly Smith, or not Holly Smith, Holly Wolf on the list. she's a Playboy playmate that I watch on Twitch. Yes, you can have this memento from my time at Walmart.
Or you know what? There might be a weird girl that wants to receive later on the list. You just put in a pair of boxers. They might be into it. Who knows?
Yeah, I can put in a pair of my boxers. Give you a very old threadbare, thread-worn pair. I'll put in this cool little USB key that I found with, I don't know, something in it.
So you want to hear some weird news?
What's that?
So you want to hear some weird news?
Yes.
There is an action heist movie in development based on Uno, the card game. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Of all movies, of all properties that they could turn into an action heist movie, why pick Uno? And how are you going to make this work?
Lil Yachty developing action movie. What the fuck? Rapper Lil Yachty.
He is the one developing the film. I love Mattel's like official response to when asked, like one of the executives, Robbie Brenner, at Mattel Films, we are looking to explore stories that bring our brands to life in unexpected ways. Uno is a game that transcends generations and cultures, and we look forward to partnering with Lil Yachty, as well as Coach P and Brian Schur, to transform the classic Uno game into a comedic action adventure.
I'm actually a little bit stunned that there is a Mattel Films. I didn't know there was a division called Mattel Films.
Well, wouldn't there have to be?
I guess so. I mean,
how many of their properties might already be into things?
Was Battleship a Mattel game?
Is Battleship Mattel? I should look that up.
Or was that Parker Brothers?
Well, I know one thing that their studio handles. Barbie's Mattel, right? And there are tons of Barbie animated films.
Yeah. American Girl?
Yeah.
I mean, that's on Hot Wheels. Isn't that a more logical brand to turn into a video game? I mean,
to do like an action movie.
Yeah. I mean, kind
wouldn't
of like
it just be like Fast and Furious, but with like branded Hot Wheels stuff? Oh, exactly. But it could have loops. Fast and Furious with loops. That's what we need.
Definitely. I mean, but it could be like a thing where like the Hot Wheels become normal size cars.
But we need like life-size loops though. Like, why would you ever have a Hot Wheels movie without loops? I'm just saying, like it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Apparently,
Like
Magic
that Speed
8
Racer
Ball.
movie.
Yeah, there you go. Magic 8 Ball is also a Mattel product. That would be a great product to turn into a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like a serious horror movie.
Where it's like, it's normal, but then you ask it and it gives you like how you're gonna die or whatever. It's like, this isn't even on the triangle that's in there. What?
I know. Or for some reason you start asking it questions like, am I going to die today? And it says, all signs point to yes. And then
why not, honey? I shrunk the need for speed. That would actually be a better way. Instead of the Hot Wheels becoming big, the people become small. The only problem is they'd have to false advertise their product because you can't get inside a Hot Wheels car. They're like all die-cast metal with like little bits on them.
Mm-hmm. So were you looking up, what was it, Battleship?
No, I wasn't. I could, yeah.
Oh.
Let's see who that's by. I know all of these companies, they have studios. So like Hasbro has their own thing. Like every single one of them. Battleship is...
It is Hasbro. You're right.
Okay, it's Hasbro, yeah. Yeah, everyone has a studio. In the modern day, you can't get by without having a studio for stuff. Just thinking, like, Uno. Why? Why an action heist movie? Like, where's the reverse card gonna come into play here? Is that gonna be the twist at the end?
I'm kind of interested in the fact that there is a singer known as Lil Yachty, a musician best known for the songs Broccoli and I Spy.
I'm familiar with Lil Yachty.
Okay.
Yeah. I am both surprised that Lil Yachty would be contacted by Mattel to make this movie. And also not once I see how ridiculous the premise is, because Lil Yachty's kind of a ridiculous person. And it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're going to go off into left field with this in the first place, nothing's off the table.
What is Ice Pie? Is that another rapper?
No, you said I Spy, and I guess GMT is interpreted as Ice Pie.
Sounds cold and eventually soggy. No, I Spy.
Not if some pies are cold without getting soggy. I mean, like if you get like a chocolate pudding pie or something, usually keep those in the fridge, or key lime pie.
Yeah.
You kind of want to let them
Lemon
thaw first before you dig into them. I wouldn't recommend eating them frozen.
There's lemon icebox pie.
Yeah.
Basically an ice pie. I'm not surprised though. GMT is the one who popularized the phrase "superb owl."
Yeah. Movie ends with a cop tries to arrest them, and they use the Uno reverse card, and he's forced to arrest himself.
In what way is it going to even be based on Uno?
This could be a large Uno gambling tournament. That's what it's going to be. That's what my guess. These underground pockets of the world you didn't even know existed.
God, it's even on IMDb. Wait a minute. Uno the movie, it says 2016.
Maybe it's been in development that long. This article is from 2 days ago.
What the hell? Wait a minute. This is a different movie. It
Is Uno
says
that popular that it's getting more than one movie?
Uno the movie 2016. What had started as a simple game of Uno turned into a psychological horror. Coworkers are driven to the edge of madness as they commit to a game of Uno.
I have not heard of that one until now. How many genres is Uno going to, multicate against?
Fire.
You know?
Oh my god! And the video, you have to put in their date of birth to even watch it. Clearly, a psychological horror.
Frickin' Uno, man.
What the hell? How is this Rooster Teeth?
Okay.
It's a Rooster Teeth movie. Apparently.
Wait a minute. No, I know it. That's not an actual movie. That's one of their live action things. I wouldn't call that a movie. I know what that is now. I've seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, you could probably still watch it too.
I'm watching the trailer, and it's basically 4 people playing Uno.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a length of a movie, but I wouldn't call it a movie.
Just tell your wife you're going to be late. You know the movie. A 5 Idiots film. Well, that's how they should have done it.
That
You
was
just
back
go to
when
the
Rooster
theaters.
Teeth made entertaining things, though.
Yeah.
They haven't done that in years.
Interesting. Well, that's what comes up when I search for Uno the movie. It's on IMDb and everything. So.
Well, you want to talk about
It must
something
be
that's cinematic, that's going to be nothing but disappointment. I think this Una movie might even be better than this. So at first, I was kind of looking forward to this until I started reading to the article more, but Nintendo is getting a documentary series that's supposedly airing March 1st. Right? And I like Nintendo. Nintendo's got an interesting history. I know a lot about it from interviews, but everything in between is nothing but hearsay. So I would like to know more about the history of Nintendo. And then it starts to get disappointing the more and more you read into this. So, one of the key people in the documentary, somewhat understandably, is going to be former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé. It's like, not the first person I contact, but a lot of the people who used to be involved are either dead or not contactable anymore, so I could see why you would go straight to Reggie. He was influential for nearly a decade as CEO. But then it's like, Phil Spencer is going to be in the documentary. And I'm starting to get sketchy. It's like, well, he's the Xbox head, but Xbox has done a lot of competition and cooperation with Nintendo, so I guess having some outside perspective could be useful as long as it's like a minor part of the series. And then it starts to get worse. The documentary will also feature it's being narrated by Sean Astin, which is fine. You can have an actor come in and narrate something. That's a good role. But it will feature guest spots from people like Will Wheaton. And the second I read that, I'm like, yeah, I've lost absolutely all interest in this documentary series altogether. It's going to be on Crackle, which is actually a service I like because it's ad-supported. You don't have to pay for it. You can watch everything for free as long as you're willing to watch commercials in between. But it's like, I don't want a phony baloney. Anything was going to be a narrative, regardless, when you make a documentary. There's going to be some things that aren't true, but maybe they might be stretches of the truth or worded differently, you know. But when you see things like Will Wheaton's going to be, it's like, no, there's going to be propaganda about the history of Nintendo at this point. It's just going to be a couple people from the industry and a bunch of actors talking about the framed narrative of Nintendo's past.
What's sad is that they didn't need to have actors. They didn't need to have like well-known actors be involved.
Yeah.
Like the Nintendo name was enough to
That's
bring
it.
eyeballs to the documentary.
Like, I could understand the Sean Astin part. You could have like a single actor doing the narration, somebody who's filling the time in between the interviews, talking about the order of events and stuff. That just makes sense from a documentary standpoint. I used to watch a lot of old Nat Geo, and you get like a bunch of Morgan Freeman stuff if you're in the actual history section of Nat Geo. James Woods used to do a lot of narration for that stuff. I used to love the opening of that stuff because you'd have like an episode talking about something happening in the medieval period, and James Woods comes walking out of a monastery dressed like a monk as he's framing everything. Like, you can have good showmanship of a documentary. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But even a lot of these, like, the people that worked at these companies, I've seen them in interviews before. They are charismatic enough to carry it and talk about the history. I'd like to see their perspectives of the things that happened. I don't want people like Will Wheaton involved.
Yeah.
I mean, next thing you know, you're going to have, what, an episode where Zelda Williams comes in and talks about the fact that her dad named her after a video game character. And it's like, okay, that can be a heartwarming thing. What the fuck does that have to do with the history of Nintendo, though?
Yeah. He's the epitome of a fake geek boy.
Yeah. No, I'd even probably call him a fake geek girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw something about that, but I wasn't sure. So that hasn't come out yet?
No, it's going to be March 1st.
Is that coming out on Netflix or what?
Crackle. So you can watch it just for having commercials in between. You don't have to pay any extra or anything like that.
Okay.
And it's going to be called Playing with Power, which is a fitting name. I used to love that old catchphrase from Nintendo, now you're playing with power. They kind of had to stop using it because they started focusing more and more on user experience and less on the power of the system, and everybody else passed them up. But I really liked that old catchphrase. I even liked the name of their magazine that they were in partnership with, Nintendo Power. It was a kind of cool theme that Nintendo had going on for a while. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they do. So it has like interviews with the Nintendo of America co-founder of Atari, whatever, Sega CEO.
Yeah, they have some
Sega
stuff in there that's
CEO.
actually relevant, but then they also have other things in there that's not relevant at all.
Yeah, why are they interviewing Will Wheaton, and who is Allison Hayslip?
Allison Hayslip is, probably not a fake geek girl type. I think she actually is a geek, but Allison Hayslip has been involved in media and also some geek-related stuff for quite some time, several different avenues. I see her in G4 a couple times back in the day, too.
Oh.
Yeah. Not a horrible person to bring in, but I would only do that if that was like, each episode's going to have a different narrator. She's the narrator for this episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They need to interview Morgan Webb.
Yeah. But it's like, why does what does all of this have to do with Nintendo? I get Atari, right? Because without Atari, you wouldn't have Nintendo. You wouldn't have the video game side of Nintendo. Nintendo would have just remained a toy company.
Yeah.
There's certain things I get. Some of them I just really don't.
Interesting.
But it was a good show that didn't have celebrity appearances and pretty much only talked to people that were directly impactful to the story was Icons on G4. That was a good documentary show. Every episode was about a different topic, and they would bring in whoever was still around that they could get the contact of that was involved in whatever was going on. Sometimes it was somebody who worked at a magazine back then that was interviewing because that's the only person they could talk to that had a perspective on it. But it was somebody who directly ran an interview, so they talked to the person, or somebody who was following the trends back then professionally as their job. It's like, okay, you have to make some concessions to make the show work, but at least the people made sense at who they were bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they were bringing in Tom Cruise to talk about frickin' Bayou Billy. It's like, where's the connection here?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
Probably watch it at least the first episode to see how good.
Yeah, I'll probably watch the first episode, and if I don't like it, I'll still watch some stuff from it. I'll just wait for like super clips of the actual interview sections with the people that matter, because they'll be there. Like you'll easily be able to find a super clip of like every time they talk to Reggie and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was just something that I initially found interesting, and then it started making me, I don't know, salty might be the proper term to use there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Sorry, I'm reading a bit of just the beginning of an article on WandaVision, which we don't have to get to quite yet.
Yeah. We will eventually get to it.
I'm just wondering if this person is one of those people that didn't like the first few episodes, and it appears so.
Yeah, it seems that there's always middle ground. There's people who are steadily enjoying the whole thing or steadily not enjoying the whole thing. But it seems that there's two large groups of people when it comes to this show.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the people who are enjoying the parody sitcom parts, and not as much the things that aren't related to the sitcom, like the actual storyline that's being built up. And the other camp are the people who are sitting through the sitcom parts to get to the story that's building up. And I tend to fall into the first camp for the most part.
Yeah, me too. But if you'll excuse me for a minute, I have to get something to drink. It's really dry. It's really gotten dry in here, and I'm parched, so I need to get a drink. I'll be right back.
And I'll continue talking about stuff.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So, here's something that was very interesting to me, because I didn't know if this was physically possible myself, but after 20 years, somebody actually managed to hit every single, like, credit name in Super Smash Bros. Melee. And if you've ever played Super Smash Bros. Melee, after you beat, like, the classic or story mode, you have to go through the credits, and it turns into a shooting gallery where all of the names of the credits go by, and you've got, like, a cursor reticle in the middle, and you're firing at each one of them. And there are 190 possible targets for you to hit throughout the entire sequence. And a dude who developed his own, like, grip method that involves, like, placing it down on the table right and, like, doing, like, a pecking type order and stuff, recorded a video where I guess he was live streaming and managed to hit every single name in the credits. I'm just like, how? I didn't think the game, like the actual engine, could move fast enough for you to do that. I thought it was physically impossible, that the like cursor would not be able to get to all the places. But apparently that's wrong. Somebody did it. To give him credit too, his name is Martin Porky Zarate, and he did it. All 190. Just a nice little tidbit to throw in there while Marsupial's gone. And another interesting thing that happened, actually before the last episode, we didn't have time to talk about it, I want to bring it back now, is the nearly completed GoldenEye remake for the Xbox 360 has leaked and is playable online if you can run a functioning 360 emulator. It's really hard to emulate Xbox stuff, but if you have a functioning 360 emulator, you can play basically all of the GoldenEye remake. It lacks all the online features and leaderboards, but that was the stuff that they were making last anyway. So even through you could do net play to play local, like a pseudo local virtual LAN. But it has the multiplayer, it has the finished campaign. The game was near completion when it was canceled. It was mostly rights that stopped them from going out. A bundle of rights were involved with that between Nintendo, who was the publisher of the original N64 game, Microsoft, who owned Rare at the time and was the one trying to develop it, but also there were problems with the Bond license holders, Eon Productions, as well as different actors whose likenesses were in the game, that it just ultimately didn't happen. But the game's basically done, so you can go online and you can play all of the GoldenEye remake on 360.
GoldenEye.
Yes, did you ever play 007 GoldenEye for the N64?
No, I know it's extremely popular.
It is. It's actually a pretty shitty game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's popular because it was a first-person shooter on the N64. It's nostalgic. I even have some nostalgia for playing it. The best way to play is somebody actually made an HD remake themselves for the PC that even has like mouse and keyboard control, and the reticle's better. I would just play that instead. But years ago for the 360, Rare and Xbox were trying to make a remake of GoldenEye in the modern era. But due to licensing problems between Nintendo, Eon Productions, and a bunch of the actors whose likenesses show up in it, it got canceled at pretty much the last minute. But the full game has leaked online, and you can play it emulating through Xbox 360. The only thing it lacks is the online connection stuff, but if you're playing on an emulator, you can always just play via NetPlay with a virtual LAN connection.
So was it finished?
Yeah, it was basically finished. It was near completion. The story is finished. The local multiplayer is functionally finished. It might be missing a map or two, but you can play. The only thing that doesn't have is the online connection and the leaderboards for playing online, because it's going to have like a whole ranked mode and stuff like that. Or not like a ranked mode, but like a ranked leaderboard similar to how Call of Duty does stuff like that. It is a fully functional game.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks interesting. So they only didn't release it because of licensing issues?
Yeah, that was pretty much the problem. That's why they didn't do the final touches to it. When they found out that they weren't going to be able to release it, they just stopped production.
Interesting. Yeah, it's probably smart to stop production at that point.
Yeah. And
Too bad, though.
Nintendo actually didn't turn out to be the worst problem with the licensing, even though they were part of the problem. It was the movie production companies and stuff. And that is a problem when you're dealing with licenses, especially when it is scattered throughout so many different hands.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't. Well, I imagine it's not that hard to find the ROM online.
Oh no, especially because this is current news. It's pretty easy to find it at the moment, and it probably won't ever get too much more difficult. You're just gonna have to go to a what's it called, an aggregation site for ROMs and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, though, people don't understand that those exist. I know some of them were killed, like Cool ROM doesn't exist anymore, but they still exist. I know people are always having trouble looking for ROMs. It's like, well, if you try to ROM aggregation site, they're like, a what?
Have you tried Google, frankly?
Yeah.
I mean, just Google it. You'll get
You
links.
usually
to-
find an aggregation site just from Googling something. Like, you Google the specific one, and the first 5 results will be its page on one of the aggregation sites.
Yeah.
Like, I just looked at Reddit. Why would you go to Reddit?
Well, what's funny is like, when I first started dating my girlfriend, I mentioned something about a movie that I wanted to see, but it was like still in the theaters. And so I was like, well, I'd love to see it, but I don't really want to go see it in the theater or something like that. She's like, why don't you just download it online? I'm like, but it's not online yet. It's still in the theater. She's like,
Day 1.
what? Yeah, she's like, what? Like, what are you talking? Of course it's online. What are you talking about? She hadn't even heard of it yet, but it's just like, I'm sure it's online. It's like, how old are you? Come on.
Well, that's the funny thing is, it's like, it's been that way since the 90s. Like, even before we had, like, all these big torrent sites and stuff, the earlier internet, if you knew who to contact, you basically could dial a phone number to get it downloading to your computer. And they would be up pretty much the same day the movie came out.
Yeah, in
Very
college I was
cheap
in the news groups,
Yeah.
and there was no piece of software that I couldn't get for free.
Yeah.
I mean, you could download from news groups, which is kind of funny because you're downloading it in the form of plain text, clear text somehow. But yeah, I mean, anything from Windows to Photoshop to, video games of any kind, you get on news groups. I don't know if you still
Groups.
basically the early torrent, the early version of torrent.
It's kind of the bulletin board version of torrenting.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like when I discovered news groups, and you get a little program that translates all the clear text into actual binary files. And
just recompile afterwards.
I can find absolutely anything.
Yeah. I miss bulletin systems just in general. I mean, I guess you still technically have a form of bulletin board in forums, because forums were just the evolution of bulletin boards. And Reddit, I guess, in some way is also an evolution of that. But there's just something cozy about bulletin groups and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, they just don't feel the same.
Yeah, they weren't they weren't technically part of the World Wide Web. They were a completely separate area.
So it felt more personal too, I guess, because it really wasn't searchable. You just kind of go straight to it.
Yeah.
I guess they probably still exist, since like most of the web is non-indexable. There's probably tons of just private bulletin groups that you can get to. You just have to know about them.
Yeah, when I got my first PC, it was just a friend of mine had to show me how to, it had a built-in modem, and had to get phone numbers and figure out who to call to or what services to call to get onto a bulletin board. I don't even remember the names of the bulletin boards I would get on or how I found them or whatever, but yeah, they would have MUDs and porn and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah. All the fun stuff that you could mostly still find online, but a lot of it's just a relic of a bygone era.
Yeah.
The MUDs are making like a big comeback from what I've seen. Like, a lot of people, I guess just nostalgia for it, they're just making MUDs-like things.
Mm-hmm. Well, like a Dark Room is a very popular text-based game that.
Or we talked in the previous one, AI Dungeon is a thing too, and it's a complete text-based game. There's no visuals whatsoever other than the text on the screen.
Yeah. They
Pretty
need to
fun.
make a new
Gets
Zork.
weird.
Yeah. They need to make a new Zork that's just exactly like Zork 1, text-based. It's funny, I was watching someone stream Ultima 7 Part 2 Serpent Isle last night, and I commented to them like, "Yeah, I streamed this a while back. I don't know when it was, a year or two ago, but I was like, I couldn't bring myself to read all the text. There's so much text," and they're like, "But the text is the game. That's the whole game." Like it's like, yeah, there's other stuff in between, but it's pretty much just all text. That's there is graphics, but still, Ultima is all about the text. So,
I actually had a similar experience in not the text as the game part, but like somebody told me that they liked a franchise, but they didn't like what basically made the franchise. For example, there's an RPG like series called .hack, right? Now, all RPGs are pretty menu heavy because that's how you navigate RPGs, especially older ones. But .hack is kind of known as menus the game. Pretty much like 90% of your game experience is just going through menus. And somebody told me, it's like, I really like .hack. I couldn't play the newer one because of how many menus were in it. And I even looked at like the one they were talking about too, and it has less menuing in it than previous iterations of the series that I had played. And like, you like the game, but you don't like the game is basically what you just told me.
Yeah. This is the game.
Yeah.
Like,
Then use the game. Do you not know what you signed up for?
Yeah.
And I really like .hack. I wish you get some more love here stateside for it. You only get like the major releases if and when they happen. And I think like the last one that was fully supported was .hack /GU, and then all the add-ons to that. One of the things I like about the naming, that disappeared. I can't see that.
Yeah. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work with my background.
Yeah, what are you trying to show?
Well, I was just Mr. Squeakers was saying he hasn't played a dark room in a while, so I was showing off a dark room. See if I bring it. Oh no, it makes everything
you
disappear.
just disappear. Yeah.
All it is text. It's a white screen with text.
Oh, okay. Personally, I prefer black screens with white text on them when I'm playing those type of games.
Yeah, I thought it was a black screen. I guess maybe if I let the fire die out, it turns black. Unfortunately, right now the fire is roaring, so it's very white. Yes, I still have it on my phone.
Yeah. But I like the naming convention in the .hack series because it is very computer. Everything is .hack // and then it'll just be like some continuation. And when they put out, because you remember back before DLC, you had to like get physical upgrades to games. Like this one might have more content, or here's an expansion pack you can put in after taking the cartridge or disc out, or so on and so forth. So every like sequel, volume, or expansion would have like a series of other things. So it'd be like .hack /G.U. / revolution /volume 1 or whatever, and it would just be like this long, almost like a file name on your computer of like, this is how many folders down it is.
Yeah.
It's probably confusing for a normie though, to be honest. They're like, which game is this in the series? Well, it's GU, and look, it says volume 2. It's right there. I know it's kind of like hidden in the name, but it's right there.
Why was I thinking of .hack? That's not related to what's that roguelike game? Is it just called? I don't remember. It's sort of the first roguelike game.
I don't remember what the first roguelike game was.
I feel like it was hacked something. I don't remember.
Well, I know what basically started the craze for .hack was .hack /sign, where people just normally don't say the sign part or the / part. It's just .hack sign.
I always just say hack sign.
Hack sign? Yeah, you could drop the dot too, I guess. But most people involve, like they say the dot. But that was more popular because of the anime that was made off of it. Which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's the only time I ever heard of it.
Yeah.
So wait, are you talking about Hack and NetHack, or is that a different game?
I don't know what NetHack is. Let me look at this.
So what are you guys up to?
Not much. What are you up to?
No, that's a different game.
I'm thinking about putting together this this boomerang box.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Why is that?
Because each person that gets it has to put in their own stuff. What if they don't have stuff to put in?
What do you mean you don't have stuff? Look at that library of memorabilia and merch behind you.
Oh yeah. Right. I'm not giving that away to anyone else. It's all mine.
It could be something big. It could be something small. It could be anything. Anything in the world. Anything that somebody that watches your channel or anybody else's channel would appreciate. It could even be. What is that?
It's a die.
Is that yours? Is that one that you've used?
Yes, it's a 12-sided die.
Well, there you go.
I don't think he wants to
I'd have
use his 12-sided die.
Well, I'd have to get another set, but I could do that.
How about a jar
you could
of
put
toenails?
you could put a memory card for a PlayStation that has the completed Metal Gear Solid on it. You know.
Metal Gear Solid.
Completed playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3.
I could put a ROM on there of Metal Gear for NES.
You can put a ROM on there of like a fraction of a Bitcoin.
Yeah, how about a jar of dirt?
There you go.
It's gonna start making the shipping really heavy.
Well,
The charging station?
you have to have the dirt because Davy Jones' heart is in it.
Could be.
I could put in the charging station for the Nintendo Switch that got stolen from me.
You still have the dock for that?
Yes, you could.
I still have everything for it. The
Except for
original
the
dock.
Switch. Yeah, that's funny.
Extra one of these.
Let me
I
see if
was
my
like,
camera works.
I don't know how the person who stole it is going to charge it and use their controllers and everything, but
No.
enjoy.
I don't think they thought about that. They're probably just stole it to hawk it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to get Mallet to make me some stuff.
Could be. We could also be sending it to Mallet too. Who knows?
I should make get branded lighters.
You should. I'm just saying it could be anything. Anything. It could even be something that you've gotten from somebody else on YouTube or some other, like, you could get like your copy of Vestry and put it in there and be like, I don't want this.
Copy of the Canadian Shield that I
I
ordered.
have a better idea. Yeah. There you go. Where is it? I don't even know. Somewhere on here I've got a copy of Canadian Shield that I could probably give.
Or Supil just puts Mallet in the box. I don't think Mallet would survive. I think that's a crime.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be super fun and a way to get everybody's channels more subs and everything.
Here, I'll give you a mask.
Don't be sending me your goddamn Corona.
Stay safe.
That's an act of terrorism.
Yeah.
You're like the first person in this community to get Corona. Take it easy.
Am I the only one? Has anyone else gotten it?
I haven't.
I've never been confirmed. I think I had it.
Oh, really?
I'm working on my... I should probably wait until I get my trading cards in. And then I'll put a trading card in there too.
Oh man, I should.
But it is like a
Just turn off trading
geocache,
cards.
but I want this to be the final thing.
Exactly.
Somebody that signs up. Ew! Oh, I thought that was a condom. Never mind.
No, it's Insecto. I can't hold it up too close or else it'll disappear. Yeah.
But I want to think it's going to be somebody that comments, and we'll make a video, right? Announcing the thing. Oh, I like that. Where's that from? The Diaz brothers?
Gravestone Press?
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that came from. I have no idea. I'd have to look it up. It might have come with hold on.
You're talking about the Lost Pages?
Yes, I think it came with this.
I think I got one of those too.
Yeah. Which I also got about a week ago.
And the thing is, the box, when it finally arrives back from whoever it goes to, then we do a big show where we, pick the actual winner of this box, and the box that everybody's swag gets shipped off.
Yeah.
But the box is going to have multiple things in it. So like if you, find something in there that you really want from one other creator, you'd be like, I'm taking this, and I'll put 2 of these things in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's meant to just be like, here's some stuff from my channel, and if I see something that I like, I'm taking it.
The Mummy. Oh, sorry.
This is why I'm not going to be including the buckler hat in this box, because I'm pretty sure somebody's going to take that shit.
Yeah. Like, probably literally the
assholes.
first person the box goes to, it's already gone.
Who doesn't want a hat? Hats are great.
I want a buckler hat. I need it. I will wear it every day and advertise the buckler. Telling you.
Well, maybe there will be a buckler hat in there. Who knows? Are you gonna sign up for this?
It's coming back to Dillard with 18 copies of the Canadian Shield.
Everybody says.
Damn it!
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I just found that box. Check this shit out.
That would be pretty funny.
Question is, will the box be? What shape will it be in by the time it gets back to him?
I'll just give them all these
Yeah.
these used Pokemon card codes for the online that don't actually work because I've used them all. It's a thick stack too. Look at that.
Yeah.
Each one of those are 10 cards.
Wow. John, do you put in the Marlboro codes? Or you don't use Marlboro? You don't smoke Marlboro?
No. They used to have them on Newports. They were called goods.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think they do that anymore. Let me check actually. But I found just a stack of all the ash cans that I got to send out, right? For the people that bought it. But inside this box, I completely forgot. I got like multiple issues of the Canadian Shield.
Cheryl.
What should I do with all these issues of the Canadian Shield?
I just fill the box with copies of Vestry Vodnik.
I even got one signed by Rick Piper.
Oh, cool.
Well,
You know his signature is worth like $30, according to him.
Oh, well, I would say you should just sign them all and basically give them away as prints. Because nobody really cares anything beyond the cover.
That super high exclusive tier.
What did I do with all my comics? I must have put them away. Someone must have put them away. I don't know.
Your mom's yelling at you. They're over here.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like a cool idea, but I would have to get some swag to put in.
Here's the thing, right? This is the commitment that I would need from another YouTuber that I'm sending this to, right? Number one, you have to do a video of the unboxing. And you have to, number two, talk about what it is that's happening. And, talk to other people about the channels and how to sign up and all that stuff. And put a link in the video that you upload on how to get to the original video where it talks about the rules and how to sign up for it. Because the sign up sheet essentially is going to be like, honor system. But you have to subscribe to everybody's channel. And we'll find a way to do multiple avenues to get everybody's channels in the description. But also maybe on some other, I've seen somebody else do it with like an interactive map where it has like people's channels when you click on they can track where the box is currently, and you can click on it, and that's their channel, and you can subscribe or whatever. But you also have to talk about it, and then you also have to pay for the shipping to send the box to the next person after you put in your swag.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like something you're interested in?
Possibly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I got stuff.
Is that...
Sure, and possibly.
I got stuff.
Yeah.
I got
Not
some
exactly
things I can
reading.
throw in there.
I'm sorry, you guys are both talking at the same time. What happened?
Go ahead.
No, I just said I got stuff to throw in there.
There you go.
Polar Knights on Twitch says, "Sweet Jesus, it's like the evolution of beards." That's right.
No, I need to shave. I hate having facial hair. Like, ever.
Yeah, I got to shave too. This is getting ridiculous. Winter needs to be over already.
That's the guy who
Hello.
has good weather all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold. What are you talking about? I'm cold already.
Yeah, he's in East California, right? It gets cold there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm in like South Central California.
Polar Knights is giving us a little too much information there on Twitch. It's fascinating.
Well, what's happening? I got to open it up because you're not going to say what it is.
I'll say it. This is
I
trying to
did-
get a beard, but my GF told me if I get a beard, she'd grow a 70s bush. And after Googling and seeing what sadly can't be unseen baby face, it is for me.
Hmm?
I tried
Yeah,
to read
leave her
that
then.
exactly grammatically as it was written.
I don't know what's up with these bras these days, thinking they can give orders and stuff.
John DMT says you're like a proto Santa.
A proto.
Like a young Santa before he was Santa.
Like a young, fit, handsome Santa.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on my trading card right now. I want to do 4. I wanted, of course, have Harrington in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Maple. But who should the 4th one be? Or should there be only 3? Because I don't want to include the henchmen, because then I'm gonna have to go do 5 instead.
Oh, I was gonna say just put what are they named? Bull and Moose. Just make them one card together.
Maybe. Or I could put one of the characters from the Temple of Polar Twilight in there as well, since they're going to be getting both books anyway.
Yeah, could always do that.
Anybody who backed. I could put Rick Arrow in there. I could put I could put Tyrese. The Harrington's cameraman.
Forget her name, but you could always just put the babe that runs the front desk at the tackle shop in there. Just because
I
you know,
could put
people
her.
always like looking at hot babes.
That's
How
true.
about the woman who works at the bus stop that gives him the ticket?
Mavis.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
She does need to be a recurring character. She's great.
That's all right.
That's true.
Game Mochan suggests a GMT card.
How did you get that from Game Motron? How did you understand what she was talking about?
Oh, the Proto Santa.
I had to think about it for a
It
minute.
says John like a pro tips a Santa.
There was some
figured-
mental
I figured-
gymnastics that had happened, but he figured it out.
Yeah. I'm accomplished in the art of reading YouTube chats or whatever.
Yeah, usually it's pretty easy to figure out what somebody means, especially if you've typed enough yourself and you've seen your own just like blunders. Though,
Yeah.
especially when somebody gives you a long, complicated thing, like Polar Nights here, I like to read it grammatically as is because I think it makes it even funnier.
That's- I like it when people get autocorrect raped.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. We've got, we're in the last block, and we've got 2 more things to talk about that were pre-planned. Which one of them was WandaVision, and the other is the session from yesterday, as we normally talk about at the end of the show.
Yeah, what do you want to do first?
Well, we normally do it at the end, so I'm going to let you set up WandaVision if you want.
All right. Sorry, DL says, I love Mars Game Collection. Looks like green screened, though.
Yeah, it's totally not. No, it's totally legit. Yeah.
Totally real. Ignore when my hand disappears and things like that. That's actually happening in real life. My hand occasionally just disappears. So, yeah, WandaVision episode 5?
Yeah, that's what we're on. It was 5.
So,
all right. Do you want to see my trading card?
Sure. While I'm talking, when last we left WandaVision, they did a bit of a departure episode where they centered around Sword, I guess. Kind of went back and showed the backstory. Oh, that's nice. And showed that this is all taking place after the snap, the Thanos snap was unsnapped. And everyone showed back up again. And this one kind of... Oh, there it is. This one kind of did a bit half and half. So it seemed like they were going to go back into the episode. And it was definitely an 80s... what was it? Family Ties.
It was Family Ties, yeah.
Yeah, they did a Family Ties takeoff with the kids who appear to be 5 years old now. At least at the beginning. And but then they kind of kept going back and forth between the show and what was happening
what's
outside.
funny is that they weren't 5 at the beginning. They were still babies when the episode started. Then they quickly ended up 5. And then later there was another jump, yeah.
But okay, so that happened before the credits? Is that right? Because I remember when it was like doing the Family Ties painting thing, they were 5.
Yeah. It was before the opening credits for that episode, or ever the jump had already happened. Because remember, what's her face? What is their neighbor who keeps coming over? I cannot remember the character's name, but she came in to help with the babies, and then there was that kind of the line of Vision didn't act the way that the script was supposed to, and she's like, "Do you want me to go again from the top?" And there was that little awkward sequence there.
Or it wasn't Vision, right? Or was it?
It was Vision who stopped her from handling the babies, because obviously she was brought in to give them a break.
Right.
And that's obviously not the way the script was going in Wanda's mind.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone seems to be kind of breaking character. It's a bit odd. What are we listening to? Suddenly got very loud again.
Oh, did it get loud again? I can lower it a bit.
Yeah. This is a Final Fantasy VI mix.
Yes, Phantom Train.
So, so the kids are aging rapidly, but on command. Like, apparently they can decide to age.
They're also apparently immune to Wanda's control. Like, she had to convince them not to. When she was trying to put them to sleep, they just wouldn't. Like, she kept trying to snap them to sleep, and they just don't have to listen to her.
Yeah, but now, so I read somewhere that this is apparently taking off of a WandaVision or Vision and Wanda comic book series, I guess from the 80s, where she had kids, but they were essentially creations of her subconscious or something like that. and ended up getting taken away by Mephisto. So a lot of people think Mephisto is going to be in this.
You know,
Or
that
is it
would.
gonna be another
I mean,
thing?
it wouldn't be a curveball because of it pulling from another comic, but from the way they've been setting it up, that would be a very interesting curveball.
Yeah.
I would like that. It'd be
And I
funny
know-
if that's the reason why they're in this in the whole first place, because otherwise Vision's dead. But Mephisto would be a powerful enough being to pull somebody whose entire existence was linked to the Mind Stone into existence again.
hmm Yeah, but then film theorists suggested that maybe Mephisto is not going to be in this because that might get it banned from China. So I don't know. Depends on how much there. But is this being directed by Jon Favreau
I don't know.
or somebody else?
I have no clue who's directing this.
If it were under the control of Favreau, I think he wouldn't give a shit what China
I
may or
don't
may
think
not.
it is though. Like that would not be my initial guess.
Yeah, so it may be true. They may pander and say, no, we're not going to follow that storyline because money. But that would be a shame. But what else happened? The kids did age up to 10.
They got a dog,
Oh, yeah, they got a dog.
right? And they jumped up to 10 because she specifically said that a dog would be too much responsibility for somebody at the age of 5. You'd have to be at least 10. And then she realized the mistake she made, and they kind of jumped up. So, yeah. Yeah, they brought that up in that, too, that she did get her powers from the Mind Stone. I even brought that up while we were talking, that maybe he's existing because she's a remnant of the Mind Stone.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said that like halfway through the episode when they brought it up.
So what else happened? What was it? So at one point, she ends up exiting the town. Oh, because
They got an
they
80s
figured
drone
out-
in there.
yeah, they figured out that if they sent something in that was already from the 80s, it wouldn't get changed. And so they could continue to control it. So they sent in a drone to try and communicate with her. But so, is it really, I mean, they set it up as sort of like a mystery of what's going on here, but it was always I was always under the impression that Wanda was controlling all of this. And so it wasn't much of a reveal to me to find out that Wanda was in control of all of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, maybe we still haven't seen the reveal yet.
Maybe.
Right? Let's say
Yeah.
it may not be Mephisto because, the China thing. But let's say this is usually outside of the realm of her powers. What if she did make a deal with another being and that's why this whole thing exists the way it does? Right? There could still be a plot twist. Or it could just be as stupid as it is.
Yeah. Or it could be Mephisto. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, so they
I'm leaning
send in
towards
a
stupid.
drone. Yeah, they sent in a drone to communicate with her, and she came out to tell them to leave her alone, and then changed the barrier
Yeah, it
from
turned
like a
red.
shimmery, from a shimmery blue to red, and it's like, okay, now it's red. What does that signify?
Maybe
She's not gonna
nobody
let
gets
her
in
in.
or out unless she wants them to.
Yeah, I guess.
It means the barrier's angry, of course. What don't you get about the
course.
color red?
Yeah.
Clearly.
I would like that. You see, maybe because the destroyed Mind Stone is reconstituting itself through her. The thing is, you'd think they would have reconstituted already. In the actual comics, you can't destroy the Infinity Stones permanently. You can, destroy that physical version of them, but they're basically like remote controls to the universe and they come back on their own anyway. Because the actual thing in the universe that they control still exists.
Yeah.
You can't destroy space-time.
So they also figured out that everyone in this town, I mean, obviously everyone in the town is being controlled, but I guess they found out that they're also sort of conscious that they're being controlled.
Yeah, it's like they're like
That
puppets.
it's painful.
that
Yeah.
are still aware of what's going on the inside. Like they're
Yeah.
riding in the back seat to their own car.
Right. So Vision is able to sort of snap one of the guys out of it, and he definitely is aware of what's going on. It's not like he was like, "Oh, where am I? Where have I been?" It was like, "I know exactly what's going on, and I can't control myself." Right? And he says he's been in pain.
I'm not even trying to like guess what kind of link or anything like that. I don't think anybody thought this very well through, and they're just trying to like justify things now. This doesn't feel like pre-planned, like what's going on with the Mind Stone and everything now. I don't think this was premeditated. This is just them like, Endgame's done. What do we do from here?
Yeah. But they are seemingly trying to. They're trying to do something going forward. I don't know if they had this planned or when they had this planned, but I mean, they're trying to link this obviously up into the multiverse of madness
Yeah.
and potentially
talk
bring.
about possible links in multiverse of the twist at the end of the episode that I honestly kind of saw coming because they were hinting at it pretty heavily. They brought up Pietro a couple times in that episode and talking about, she has twins, she was a twin, how no matter what, your family is always there. And in her mind, at least the version of her that she's playing on the show, her brother's not dead, he's just very far away. So I come like, are we going to get an end of the episode appearance of Pietro? And we did. And it was, what's his face? The other guy from the X-Men movies who plays him.
The other Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he doesn't he have a different name in that as well? I can't remember. I don't think he's named Pietro.
He might be using his anglicized name. It's been a while since I've watched. He might be using Peter.
He was originally in X-Men
Days of Future Past.
First Class.
Right.
He was in First Class?
No.
No, you're right.
Days of Future Past was the first one he was in.
Right.
Game of Tron says this is all leading up to a collab with Sony and a movie adaptation of One More Day, isn't it? I fucking hope not. Because One More Day is shit.
Mm-hmm. But they're planning on doing sort of a multiverse story for the next Spider-Man.
That's probably how they're bringing the X-Men into it too, is through multiverse stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to bring the X-Men in. So I mean, seems like they're kind of tying this all in. But yeah, I feel like he even had a different name. I don't know if they even called him Peter.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched either of them.
Oh, they did. Okay, you're right. They called him Peter Maximoff.
Yeah, which
Okay.
he's been called that in the comics before too. That's just like the anglicized version of the same name. Pietro is Peter.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so they're obviously trying to tie this in. And so I don't know. I mean, is she did she bring Peter in from a different universe? Is she in a different universe? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I think what she's in counts as a realm of its own, though, because they were talking about traces of cosmic microwave background, which is, residue from the Big Bang.
Yeah. So
They're
she's
bringing in
created
they already kind of addressed this in the in the end game where Thanos that radiation that happened from the snap that destroyed the stones started messing with everything.
Yeah.
So it's,
So anyway, what do you think? Did you like this one better than the last one?
I enjoyed the sitcom parts. Even the stuff that wasn't necessarily sitcom-y at the end, where like Vision. I'm enjoying the parts that take place in the sitcom, even the stuff related to the story, like when her and Vision are kind of like fighting and stuff at the end, and that's fine because they still try to keep it a little lighthearted when things get tense in there. It's the sword related stuff outside of it that I'm just not really enjoying.
Well, what do you think this is going to go? Because I mean, are they going to stick with the whole sitcom thing? Because
Oh no, that's
like,
going to degrade.
well, like in the previews, they showed like her in her Scarlet Witch outfit, which presumably was like a
night.
yeah. So I mean, is that going to happen? Is there? I mean, how much more of the sitcom-y parts are there going to be? Or is
I don't think there's going to be too much more.
It's gonna be in the entire season.
Yeah, like and then after
the season's not gonna end until the thing is resolved. The sitcom thing.
So is this only going to be like a 10-episode season?
I don't know. Maybe. They actually probably already gave you the map. If you go to IMDb and look up the season itself, it probably shows you when each episode's coming out. They'll just have like blank pictures for the future ones.
Remember when television series or television seasons used to be like 50 episodes?
Yeah, or on average like 24 would because they would go they'd go across 2 spots. They'd start in the fall and end in spring. And there'd be like an intermission in between like episode 12 and 13 for winter break.
Google's only showing 7 episodes.
Yeah.
God damn, how lazy can you get?
I was upset when, what was it, The Witcher was only 8. Was it 8 or was it 6? I think it might have been 6. Because I think it was still a total of 12 hours, which I guess would be a 12-episode season of a half-hour show. But even again, most half-hour shows used to be 24 episodes.
Yeah, or more.
So, like, I understood when they started going to an hour long, having, like, 12 or 13 episodes. That made sense. It's like, okay, that's the same amount of hour time that you get. You're getting it all twice at a time. But it just keeps getting shorter and shorter. Part of it is the budget keeps getting higher for this stuff, too. So they don't actually have the budget to shoot these longer seasons. They keep blowing their load all at once.
And these are half-hour episodes, right?
Yeah, that's the thing too. I was expecting a longer season.
Yeah.
Because half the episodes like credits almost. Like I think they're 45 minutes, but it's like 15 minutes of credits.
Okay. Yeah.
So effectively it's like half an hour for the episode.
Well, a lot of people didn't like the sitcom-y parts, but it's like you and I think, are in agreement that those are like the only good parts of the show.
Yeah. Like it. What was it? Episode 2 or whatever. The magic show is one of the best parts of the whole series so far.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Why did you like that? Doesn't seem like something you would like. Why did you like that?
Well, why did I like the magic show?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because it was kind of like sticking to the bit. They just went full off with it. Like, this is the way the world works in here, and they're just going with it. Sure, normally Vision's system wouldn't work like that, but because everything works differently in here, it's gumming up the works. There's like a joke in its own, and they're going all the way.
The gumming up the works joke. That made you like chortle or what?
No, I thought that was funny.
I was like seriously offended.
You were offended? Why?
Because it was so stupid.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be stupid.
Yeah, but not in a good way.
I don't know. I thought it was funny.
I liked Vision acting like he was drunk. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. And Wanda's just running around trying to clean up the fact that he's using his powers. So she's trying to like make excuses for how it's working.
I do kind of wish like they could have made it twice. Like they could have made this 20 episodes, and they could have done a good 10, 15, or almost 20 episodes of that of sitcom-y kind of situations, and I would have enjoyed the whole thing. Like if they had done like 4 episodes of the 50s style, 4 episodes of 60s style, 4 episodes of 70s style. I would have loved that. It got too quickly into the serious stuff, and it was, it's 2 characters that I know who have been in all these kind of superhero-y situations, and they're putting them in completely different situation. And I would have really enjoyed if they had just run with that, just been like, yeah, let's just do this crazy comedy.
Yeah, it's the sticking to the bit part. Like, if you're going to go do it, just go all the way.
Commit to the bit, right. Like, I would have enjoyed that. At least of one full season of, like, 20 episodes. And then they could get to the more serious stuff and, eventually.
Well,
but
you have to look from their perspective, right? If they don't ever get to the serious stuff, then they're afraid the sudden shift in the next season would just throw off all the people that liked it. So they have to kind of... Buck even says it's going to phase off over time. They kind of have to like slowly transition so it seems like a natural part of the show.
Yeah, see, like I said this last week. They went too fast. It's just too fast. Like shows like Lost, they had all these mysteries, and they got to them way too slowly, and they either explained them way too slowly or they never explained them at all. They needed to have more mystery. They needed to take their time in developing like what the hell's going on kind of a thing, and eventually have a payoff, unlike Lost. But they needed to do it more slowly, and I would have enjoyed it more if there'd been more mystery. Like, what's the deal with this beekeeper guy? Oh, next episode just explains it, and it's no big deal. It's like, okay, that was disappointing. I wish they had taken their time and done more of these, sitcom-y episodes. But apparently they're not gonna.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
I don't know, I feel like my rating for the show is going to be pretty low by the end of the season.
Yeah. But I would have enjoyed the dumb stuff, John, for a while longer. I liked how they had it like a Bewitched show for one episode.
Yeah, I think I enjoy those old dumb shows as well, so that's probably why I was enjoying it.
And it was, the dumb part where like she's doing the cooking and there's clearly stuff hanging by wires, floating around in the kitchen. And like, whatever happened to the boss and the wife? Like, they disappeared. I love Kitty from that 70s show. She just disappeared after one episode. It's like, God damn it. I wanted more of them. It's just, I don't know if it's because of COVID, if they really are only doing 7 episodes this season, or even if it's 10, it's like, okay, was that cut short because of that? I don't know, but it's a bit disappointing even if there's only 10 episodes. I definitely would have liked more, but whatever. Gotta get to the next Doctor Strange, gotta get to the next Spider-Man movie. They're gonna be involved. So
yeah, well, I think that's also been my problem with the MCU in general.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mostly just Phase 3. Phase 1, setting things up, it felt like they were taking their time getting places. Even Phase 2, for the most part, it still kind of felt like things were going at a good pace. Phase 3, it's like they were rushing to get everywhere.
And now we're in Phase 4, right?
Yeah, this is Phase 4 now.
So did you know, apparently the soap, or the soap commercial, where it's like Hydra soap or something, was a reference?
It was Lagos. It was Lagos soap.
Which is referencing to the city of Lagos.
Well, apparently
Scarlet Witch destroyed.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Well, the one where they were fighting, what's his name, and she kind of fucked up big time.
They mentioned it earlier in that episode. Like, you didn't even have to remember the reference from the movie. They showed the whole event happening.
Was that the one with the soap commercial? I thought the soap commercial was in the previous episode. I think. maybe.
No, the Lagos was the paper towel that was in this episode.
Okay, what was the one with the soap?
The soap.
Yeah, it was
that was a couple
Hydra
episodes ago.
See, so you guys are wrong.
No,
it was
the soap
Hydra
one was
soap.
a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the
Oh.
Lagos thing. I'm talking about the soap commercial because there was a reference to mind control soap
Yeah,
Developed
I
by
remember
Hy-
that one now.
in Agents of Shield. Apparently.
Oh, see, I remember the commercial you're talking about. I would not
Mhm.
pick up the reference from Agents of Shield.
Yeah. So apparently there was a reference to mind control soap in Agents of Shield, and the ticking. So I've been watching stuff related to this to find out what the hell is going on with some of these little side things
Yeah.
that may end up not being important. But the ticking of the toaster oven, the Stark toaster oven, apparently may have been a reference to when I guess Wanda and Pietro were stuck under some rubble, and there was like a ticking bomb near
It was
them.
the Stark bomb.
Right.
The reason why they hated Stark because they had to look at the bomb thinking they were gonna die.
Yeah, for like 2 days, it was like sitting there, and they didn't know if it would ever go off, and they were stuck under some rubble for like 2 days before they got rescued. So,
Well, I didn't pick up what all the references were. I was assuming, though, that all these commercials, since it is Wanda's world, had something to do with her personal experiences and stuff.
yeah. So anyway, just that was apparently what those references were for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so some of this may be subconscious. In fact, it seems like maybe this was all subconscious to begin with. Like she sort of lost her mind, but now I don't know. She's a bit more conscious now of the fact that she's controlling all of this. But
Either that or she developed a split personality, like for her own
Maybe.
sake. There's the conscious part of her, and then there's the part that's living out the fantasy.
because I mean, did she will those? I guess in the comic book, she didn't know that her children were like constructs of her mind. And so when they were stolen, I guess by Mephisto, she tried to get them back before finding out that they weren't real. So, did she apparently will her children in this show into existence without realizing it? I guess so.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think there is a part of her that's living the fantasy, so she is not necessarily expecting the things that's going on.
Mhm.
But there's also like the backseat driver that's trying to keep everything in check.
Right.
And that's just the way I'm picking up on it now, based on what we can see. It could be completely wrong later on.
Yeah. And she is occasionally controlling things
Yeah.
explicitly, like rewinding things.
Yeah. Hey guys, I gotta go. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Hey, John.
Well, then that means he's about to miss the very last segment
Yeah.
that it was actually pertinent to him being here, where we cover what we did yesterday during the RPG campaign that we've been playing. As anybody who's been following has known by now, or has been listening to the audio uploads I've been putting into the podcast RSS feed, we've been playing the Final Fantasy tabletop RPG 3rd edition, and I have this really long campaign that we actually might be taking a break from whenever you guys finish chapter 1, just so I can literally work on anything else for a little while. But there's still plenty of content to be done on the way to them finishing chapter 1. I have like this whole continent that they can do. And the last time, just yesterday, they were basically lost. Because, which I can take some credit on that. Apparently I didn't do a good enough job of at least even leading them on who they should be asking for advice on what to do and so on and so forth. And you guys have said the last time on the... Was it... Did we talk about this on Wednesday? Or was it Sunday? It was
I think so.
one of the previous Vomitoriums.
I think
you
we
guys
talked
really
about it
didn't-
Monday because
Yeah.
we were kind of like talking about what should we do next.
Yeah, you guys
Go
didn't
ahead.
really know what to do. And I told you, well, there's this dungeon you guys can do. I did have people that would have told you about that stuff. Part of it too is like I guess I didn't make it clear enough on who you should even be asking. I figured that there'd be certain people that would just be pertinent to ask. Like if you were lost, maybe you'd ask Germain, who's the king's counselor. Obviously, you wouldn't ask the king because nobody can understand what the fuck the king is saying. But that was by design. I wanted people to talk more to Germain. We could have asked Geen for advice. She would have told you different things to do. The clerk at the Hunters Guild will only tell you about the hunts that are available, but the guy who runs it would give you different advice on stuff to do as well. There are people around the town that would have told you, mostly like named people. But then you have like Dillard. Most of the time, his thing is like, I'm gonna ask this random person on the street something. But
Yeah.
so you guys finally started heading out. You started out by deciding you wanted to clean up the stuff that was missing in the fire swamp that you guys never did.
Yeah. hmm
This camp.
Which I was admittedly very skeptical that would pay off at all. I was like, what's the point of this? I mean, there were a couple of chests that didn't seem that interesting to do, but I was proved wrong.
Yeah, Bucky says, I knew, but until last time I didn't have a character that could speak.
hmm
Yeah, you were wrong. The thing is, I never even thought that somebody would use the sight spell. The sight spell can have some good uses, but I'm just like, who's ever going to pick this up over something that could have actual defensive or offensive capability? And when you guys went there, Flit's like, I'm going to use this spell that I accidentally grabbed because I thought it was scan. And he opened up the whole map, and there's this campsite that I did hope that somebody would stumble upon. I just didn't think anybody was going to see it right away. And I was expecting you guys to go straight to the campsite because it seemed like an interesting little setup. But you guys never went there. You just tried to go to the dungeon, and then there was the whole beef with Dillard and Rick that ended up having you guys go back, and it took you forever to go back to the first dungeon. So you went to that campsite, and you found something there.
Yeah. It was a giant, I don't know what it was called exactly, but it was a land turtle or adamantoise or whatever.
It was literally
Giant
just
tortoise.
called a giant tortoise.
Okay. Which we'd been talking about before. We're like, how come we've never seen a land turtle or tortoise or whatever? Like, that's almost always like the first enemy of, the first boss.
Actually,
fight.
potentially the first boss you could have fought.
hmm
And I think I've told you too. It's like, oh well, I mean, they're in the map. You could have run into one by now. You guys just haven't.
Yeah. So finally did, and it was kind of a scripted encounter, right?
Yeah.
But we ended up so obviously it wasn't that hard for us at this level.
Yeah.
What level was it? A level 10?
Level 3 boss.
Level 3. Okay.
Yeah. Because it was
And
supposed to be
we're-
like
and
you
we're
could
all
fight it the first time you went there. It would kill a person because it has power strike, so it ends up doing like 14 times its strength plus a dice roll. Not that it matters because its strength is really low, being a level 3 monster, but it actually nearly killed Dillard because he never upgraded his armor yet.
Still wonder if he's ever going to.
Yeah, who knows?
But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have killed me. But I mean, it still would have come close because my armor's like 30 or something.
And you don't have a lot of health, but you would have had like a good buffer room.
But yeah, we managed to dispatch it pretty well. I mean, I already knew Flit scanned it, so that told us explicitly, but I already knew it was going to be weak to ice just because they always are.
And it had a lot of armor, not a lot of magic resist. It's just the one time that you happened to hit it, you had a really good roll for the ice arrow that ended up making up the difference, and you did slightly more than you did with the magic the first time.
Yeah.
And I say a lot of armor and low magic armor, but that's compared to the level. I mean, it wasn't that big of a difference between the two, being a level 3 monster.
Mm-hmm. And we did open the other chests, which again, I was skeptical that we'd find anything useful, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
Found something that gives +2 agility, so that's nice. I forget who ended up taking that.
Who did end up taking that?
Is it Buck? Travis, whatever.
No, yeah, it was.
I don't know.
Even says it right there.
Yeah,
he did.
So yeah, that can help with.
Well, the most useful thing you got from fighting the boss, which was Cross now has a Tortoise Shield, which gives him 20% more HP.
Oh yeah. John was one bad roll away from becoming a eunuch.
Yeah, probably.
So I was glad that we cleared that out. And then we got out of there and headed for the Sunken Plaza?
The Flooded Plaza.
Flooded Plaza?
Yeah.
I can never remember that.
I understand why you keep thinking the other way, because at least in 2 of the Final Fantasy games you've played so far, there's a sunken palace and a sunken cave. Sunken is a very commonly used word in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you went to the Flooded Plaza, which was several days trip, because it's like about 200 miles away from town. And it's on the other side of the lake, so it's like... It's actually probably closer to 180, but you have to go up and then back down to be able to get there. Weird geometry route. But yeah, so about 200 miles from town. It took you several days to get there, and you guys went to what I would say is the first complex dungeon that you guys will have gone to. Most of this continent is pretty simple, to at least what you can reach right now. The fire swamp plus the fortress in there, pretty straightforward. It's like you just navigate past the traps of the fire swamp, going like a spiral in the dungeon. Hard to like not navigate that. The next thing is the pass. Also hard not to navigate that. Everything's pretty straightforward. This, on the other hand, has multiple floors and different paths and stuff. So you guys are in your first complex dungeon.
I almost wonder if at some point it might not be helpful to just for the random encounters on the plains, just calculate how many there are going to be, calculate how much experience and gold we're going to get, and just give it to us.
Yeah, maybe.
Just be like, yeah, you get 500 experience and 100 gold.
Or just at a certain point, I might be like, there's no point in doing this because you guys would kill it. You don't even get any experience.
Okay, yeah.
Right, like at a certain point in an area, it might just become travel time because nothing's a challenge enough to even give you experience.
Yeah. But I did want to bring
this first long distance travel, I was going to force you guys to fight everything for sure.
Yeah, that's fine. But I was going to bring up that I'm getting a little frustrated with people not remembering how to play the game.
Yeah.
Sure you are too. And, I have to say, and I hope he doesn't take too much offense to this, when John asked what armor was or what type of armor was supposed to, my jaw almost hit the floor. I was like, "Holy shit, dude! This is like session 13."
And I know he hasn't been there for every session, but he's been for over half.
Right, and you don't know how to subtract armor from the damage that you're taking? Like, have you not been doing that this entire time? I was like, oh my god, dude.
At least in his case, not that it would make too much of a difference because he only has 7 armor and 6 magic armor.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he hasn't upgraded it, yeah.
Well, he said the real reason, at first, before this forgetting thing is even a case, is that he would only wear things that his character would wear because it's the type of character that he is. which is fine. I like when people play to their role. At least when it comes to the role-playing side, Diller does an excellent job of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, between him and also Cross is doing better than before, but he also often forgets the mechanics of the game. Some of the stuff that he's done plenty of times. And at least for a while, I hate to see anybody have to go because of scheduling, but the guy who forgets the mechanics the most isn't really showing up, and that's Timothy. Almost every single session that he showed up, I've had to remind Timothy about how the basic mechanics of the game work, which die you're supposed to use for what, which I understand for the first 3, maybe even stretch 4 sessions because how short they had been. Having to remind people there's a week in between. It's not your standard D20 system. It's a percentile roll system. I get that. And he's missed a few. But coming in like session 10 or whatever and be like, which die am I supposed to use again?
Yeah.
That does get a little frustrating. Yeah.
Well, and then having not been able to figure out how to get the Roll20 auto roll thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we get everyone on the same page with that? Is there a problem? Like, I don't understand
John
what the problem
did say
is.
he had problems in the past. I was being very lenient because of that. And I assumed, I don't know what screen he was using. Maybe he was using his tablet screen or something. I don't know what the issue was, but he wasn't able to click before when it came to the roll the first time that I tried to get him to do it several sessions ago.
Actually, I kind of wonder.
I think it's mostly just a lag thing.
Okay.
Because it was taking a really long time to come through, but it did eventually come through.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if I get on Roll20 on my tablet, if it might actually be easier for me to do it that way. If I'm logged on, I shouldn't have a problem with being logged on to 2 devices, right?
I don't
Or
know.
will I show up twice?
Because I believe it's your user. I don't know if you can log in with 2, but I think because nothing's direct control and multiple people can control the same object, like you and I can both control your character because I'm the game master. I don't think it should be a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently my tablet will not go anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I have logged into the website through the browser on my phone before to show things to my brother because so he this campaign was originally being made to play with him and a group of people, and like, well, you know, I could add you guys in, and using the GM layer to move stuff, I could just run a second instance of this game with another group if you guys still wanted to do it. That's no problem. I already have all the assets there. I just have to keep notes of what's what, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Man,
it's hard for him to get a group of people together. Plus, he doesn't want to play with the group that played his last campaign. I don't know if I said this on the last episode of the Vomitorium. We're talking about it, but one of the many reasons why Buck had been leaning to possibly sacrificing his character sometime in the future, and it finally came into fruition, was that the character with the defects that he has were not designed to play with your group. He just used a character he already had rolled up. The character was designed to play with the group from my brother's last campaign, because that group, on the whole, kept pissing him off, so he made a character specifically to piss them off. And that's where, like, the whole candy addiction and stuff came from in the first place, and having a character that can't directly speak with people and everything like that. And at a certain point, he started feeling bad because, well, there have been a little bit of frustration. You guys as a group hadn't been pissing him off, and he didn't design this character to punish you guys in the first place.
Right.
So now he's got a fully cooperative character that he can play.
Well, no, I mean, his whole character didn't bother me.
No.
But anyway, never, there have been frustrations, and I guess I don't know if it's just people not taking it seriously, and it's like supposed to be fun, but at the same time, you kind of got to take it seriously to some degree in order to have fun.
Yeah, well, because I think people get the wrong mindset when it comes to tabletop games, right? When you're playing a tabletop game, you are engaging in theater, basically, right? Mm-hmm. It's a different type of theater, but it's if you were to go live action role playing, or if you were to do any other type of improv or story based thing like this, there is somebody running the show. The GM is kind of like the director of the program, and you guys are all actors in a play that are deciding the direction of the show. The director's not just like, hey, this is how things are going, but you guys are all actors in a play, and if you're gonna really enjoy the program you're putting on, you kind of have to play to your character, you know?
But see, to me, I mean, that I think people are doing well. I think.
Except maybe the guy
Rick could use a little work. Kidding.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, Rick. Rick could use a little work on that. But I'm more frustrated with the technical aspects. And to me, if we're going to talk analogies, I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday, someone else. My analogy would be to liken it to joining a bowling league.
Yeah, right? I can see that too, because you're all performing together with your scores in a bowling league.
Right. And you may only go once a week, but like you're still expected to improve each week. And then there's certain
you're holding
basic...
the whole team back if you don't.
What's that?
You're holding the whole league back if you're not improving each week.
Or your team, yeah. I mean, we're all on the same team.
Yeah.
But also, it's a matter of just learning the basics. So if everybody went to we're all on a bowling league team, and on day one you have no idea how to even score a spare and a strike. Never mind just throwing the ball. But like here, I feel like we're on week 13. Someone throws a strike, and the person sitting at the scoring table is like, I have no idea how to score a strike. And I'm like, it's week 13. How do you not know how to score a fucking strike? I realized we were all beginners 3 months ago, but we've done this like a dozen times. You should know how to score.
Yeah.
You should know the basics. It's almost like you walk up and you're like, I can't remember how to roll the ball or which lane I'm at.
It's like, how do my fingers go in again?
Yeah.
What's like the general arm movement? Do I pitch this thing?
Yeah, and it's like, I understand if that was the case on day one or week 2 or week 3 or week 4. On week 13, we should all know how to throw the ball. We should all know
I
how
don't
to
just
score.
go once. There's a pickup phase. Okay. It's still my turn.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait, I gotta,
You actually get 2 actions in bowling, unless you get a strike the first time. Though you could get up to 3 in the very last lane.
Yeah, it's like, someone rolls the ball, they get, 6 pins down, and then they go sit down, and everyone's like, are you going to roll again? Oh, I get to roll again? It's like, have you not been playing this for the last 3 months? Like, what is going on? Like, how are you not picking up on this? I mean, and I don't want to get frustrated because, like, when the comment that sticks out to me is, what armor am I supposed to subtract? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think in this one, because you could do the same thing with another league. I think golf is a better analogy because as a team, you can have group scores and you're looking for the average score of the team against other teams in like some of these more local golfing leagues. Golfing's a lot more complicated with more things you have to keep track of, right? You've got different clubs that do different things, so you have options there, right? You do different things at different phases too. Like you don't swing the same. Well, I mean, the swinging motion's most of the thing, but you don't use the same club at the tee box that you do when you're off in the rough because you accidentally hit it a little too far off the fairway. I think golfing is a pretty good analogy for when it comes to things. If you've been golfing for 3 months now, you may still not know the best options for everything, but you should at least know when to use your driver, when to use your wedges and stuff like that, when to use your irons. and
putter,
that you
whatever.
probably don't use an iron when you're on the green. You should bring your putter out. And if everybody's taking the average of the score against other groups that are playing, if you're not doing those things, you're really going to hurt the average of the score for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, there's a million analogies we come up with.
Yeah.
But, I mean, here's the thing. So at the time, I did not say a word. I was trying to be nice.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna let Metal handle that and everything. But in my mind, I was fucking screaming, man. I was like, what the fuck?
Well, yeah, and if we do, one of the problems everybody had to leave afterwards. Normally, if something does come up, I'd rather talk about it after the session, because we're doing a live stream of this. So we're also putting on a show for everybody who's watching, and I kind of want to try to make it go through as smooth as possible. But we couldn't even really talk about anything afterwards because everybody had to dip out since we went over time.
Yeah. Well, and we're running out of time now. But I mean, we got to the shit. Don't tell me the flooded plaza. I had to think about it.
Yeah, that time.
We got to the flooded plaza. We had some fun there.
Yeah.
Had an interesting mechanic come out that I didn't anticipate. That when you cast lightning or thunder, or whatever it's called, on a flooded plaza, you're kind of going to shock some more than just who you're aiming at.
Yeah, and
so
try higher powered spells if you ever get the chance and see what happens.
Yeah. So that was an interesting mechanic, and it ended up being, luckily we had the two people who got shocked, myself and Travis. Is he the other one? Had a high enough magic armor that it didn't really hurt us. I don't think it hurt either of us at all, but maybe it was Rick. Yeah. Okay, Rick. Yeah. I don't think it hurt either of us. Thankfully.
Yeah, especially because it was at that point a group spell, so it's already 75%.
Yeah, and he has like lightning ward, and I have a really high magic armor.
Yeah.
And then it came in handy later because I could shock two of the Sahags at the same time, so that was kind of cool. But I got the feeling
it's a good thing you don't have Thundera yet.
What's that?
It's a good thing you don't have Thundera yet.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. But now I know. To be more careful. And I don't even know what well, anyway, we can get into that later. Yeah. But I kind of got the feeling that everyone was a bit like, okay, we just got here. It took a little while to get here. We haven't really made much progress today. So I think that's why people were like, even though it had been 4.25 hours, everyone's like, let's do one more thing. Let's open one more door.
Yeah, they just wanted to clear that whole floor just to feel accomplished. Yeah. I get why they wanted to.
I totally understand. Unfortunately, I really had to go. I was already, my mom was already eating. I was late for dinner, basically. And I felt bad because, anyway. So unfortunately, I had to go. But I totally understood when people were like, one more thing. Let's just open one more door. Let's do one more thing. I was like, I really wish that I could have stayed longer and done one more thing. But even John had to pretty quickly, so. But we'll get more done because we're already there. We don't have to get there.
You don't have the travel time or anything like that.
So I had a fun time. Kind of once we got to the flooded plaza, but at times in my head I was a bit frustrated.
Yeah.
So.
Understandable. And I think now that we're at the end of that note, being nearly 5 minutes over, I guess it's a good time to wrap up. And thanks everyone for coming and watching the Vomitorium, either now or in the future, whenever you're listening to this. And we will see you next time on Wednesday, assuming the world doesn't end before then. Bye.
Yeah.